tap the screen when you could, you know how the TikTok dynamics work, guys. So, you know what I mean? And also follow us on all platforms, man. Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, and also on YouTube. Follow us on YouTube, people. Listen, all the link, if you tap on my profile in TikTok, everything is linked there, guys. You know what I mean? All my platform. Even if you go to YouTube or TikTok or Instagram, Facebook, all the link is there. The all platform linked together. So it doesn't matter what platform you see your chat on. It's a fifth. The link should be there where you could actually go see our profile, especially on YouTube. And I mean, listen, guys. So we want some people over here on TikTok also. If you interested and like my platform, you know what I mean, especially on YouTube, because not all videos I put up on TikTok. So if you want to see all the lives, trust me, the lives video definitely not on TikTok. Maybe some, but not all. Not even. I'm not even going to say some, guys. I don't really, because to be honest, I want people to cross over. So people on TikTok, you need to cross over and come on YouTube. You know what I mean? Spread your wings a little bit. You know what I mean? Because you all know the app has changed a lot. You know what I mean? Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok now they're all, all in the same group. So you need to, come over here on TikTok and on YouTube and see a lot of content that I don't put on TikTok or even on the lives. Definitely not on Instagram. No, you have to come over on YouTube to watch the lives. I mean, and the lives are pretty interesting, good topics. Discuss a lot of things over the everyday issues, so that's how it is right now. So big up to everyone that's on the platform this afternoon that will share the live. Make sure you share the live, guys. Share the lives.
Hello, brother. How you doing, brother?
I'm good, man. What's going on?
Sorry about that. I'm trying to get ready for work earlier and out the way. That way I could be locked in with the stream during the later hours. You know what I'm saying? So,
Yeah.
that's why when I kind of came on like 2 minutes late because I didn't realize. But yeah, I'm ready. The stream has my full attention. So I'm here. So for those who want to join, the topic, what does it mean to be equally yoked? This is a biblical conversation, specifically 2 Corinthians 6:14. All right, so we're going to get in the word and we're going to unpack this. 2 Corinthians 6:14 says, do not be unequally yoked together with unbelievers, for what fellowship has righteousness with lawlessness? And what communion has light with darkness? And what accord has Christ with Belial? Or what part has an unbeliever with has a believer with an unbeliever? And what agreement has the temple of God with idols? For you or the temple of the living God? As God has said, I dwell in them, I walk among them, I will be their God, and they shall be my people. Therefore, come out from among them and be separate, says the Lord. Do not touch what is unclean, and I will receive you. I will be a father to you, and you shall be my sons and daughters, says the Lord Almighty. That is 2 Corinthians 6:14, chapter 6, verse 14 through 18, ladies and gentlemen. Okay. So that's what we're going to be talking about today in this way. For the people who are believers, is that something that they're practicing right now in their relationships, their marriages? How important is that to them? We're also going to get into what happens when you're not equally yoked, when you're unequally yoked. And we'll get into that. And we'll also get into how, in farmers' terms, how also equally yoked meant when they took both of the ox, attached rails against them, and when they needed to go in the same direction, one direction, they had to be at least of a level of strength. You couldn't yoke an ox with a donkey. That would be unequally yoked, in farming terms. All right. So we're going to get into that. Mr. Yard Chat, how you doing, brother?
I'm good, man. I'm good. How are you? I'm good.
Yeah. So I think this is going to be an interesting show. This is a a topic that is always talked about, but it's always out of context, you know? Because everybody wants to say they will either not agree with it being faith based first. They'll go straight to they gotta have the same money as me. They gotta have the same level of collegiate education as me. They gotta have the same. We gotta have the same uh, um, end goals. We gotta have the same. But they disregard the faith part. You know, it's always something that's overlooked. What you think, Mr. Yard?
Yeah, yeah, if you look at it, yeah, it's overlooked because that's supposed to be the first
Foundation.
foundation that you look at because with God all things is possible. But
Yep.
people are not putting God, they're putting their feelings, looks, the bag, everything else but the foundation. So you really think your foundation gonna stand even if you're making $1 billion a year or the mansion, you have the cars, you have all the things, but the foundation you're gonna crumble.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a mindset thing. It's also a lot of misteaching. You know, it's a mindset thing. You know, because and honestly, I don't think that's coming from men. And I'm not saying that to be like chauvinistic, but you know, men are not making the same demands that a woman should have. That women modern women have been demanding for them in terms of finances and college degrees. And it's like that doesn't make you a good wife or a husband. Just because you have a high earning salary doesn't mean that you're more of a capable than a husband than somebody who has an average salary. You know what I'm saying? Or vice versa. A wife who make just because a wife got a doctorate and a MD, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what all that stuff is external material things because at the end of the day, you take all that away from you. Who are you? Who are you? And a lot of people put their accomplishments into who they are. And that's it. That's how they validate themselves, which is pretty sad. Who are you without that? What kind of person are you? What do you actually contribute? And I'm not talking about to the table. I'm just talking about just who you are as a person. There has to be something about you that says, you know what? They're more than just their like accomplishments. You know what I'm saying? And that's why that foundation got to be right. Because if that foundation ain't right, then you're gonna have a building that can't stand. You know what I'm saying? That's a construction rule. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Yeah, we can't do that.
I mean,
Well,
people have to make choices, man. It's their choices.
yeah, yeah. A lot of people do. What's kind of like counterproductive is that you've been doing this for a while, right? Same as me, right? And what happens is we hear a lot of complaining, right? A lot of complaining, but a lot of people are not applying the tools that they're given, but they'll complain about those tools. Does that make any sense?
I see your point. Yeah, I see your point.
Yeah. You can't complain about the monkey wrench if you haven't used it to do the actual thing that needs to uh what's actually needed for that construction project. You know what I'm saying? You don't use it, but you complain about it. Like wisdom and valuable information. You get valuable information from someone, irreputable, and then you complain about it, but you don't use it. But you know it's there to use. That's the thing. It's there to use, but you don't use it. But you complain about it. And then you get these results, and then you're wondering why you're getting the results you get is because you didn't use the tools that were provided for you.
I just think the game has changed.
Yeah,
Rules don't change. God rules don't change. I just think people change the rules
absolutely.
because when you go in the dating scene, people have rules.
Hmm.
Not saying not saying you don't have preference and some type of morals. Yeah, we know that, but your guys know exactly what I'm talking.
Yeah.
You know exact. People have demands, ridiculous, ridiculous demands. So what they do, the demands will be met, but they're not equally yoked. The outer, all the money wise, everything. Oh, he's 6'5", he's making 100,000, the 6 feet. He's doing all that. He's doing all that. He's good. He have the house. He have the car, vacation. He have all of that. The outer, the rules has changed, man. They've been changed.
You know what? A man, a man can't change his height. Um, but a man
You,
could
you
definitely
can, you
change his.
can, you can. Trust me.
Really, I could
They have
become.
surgery.
I could become 6'6".
Yep, they have surgery. A black guy did it. A black guy did it.
Yeah,
They broke his legs. They put pins in his what's that? His shin and extend it.
yeah. Ain't that crazy?
I'm telling you, man.
They call
But
that. You know what they call that jokingly? They call that the leg BBL.
well, well, if you look if you're looking at that point of view, it is
Yeah,
surgery. It is surgery.
yeah,
So you know what I mean. But the thing is, see, this is the thing. When you do those things, you definitely hinder longevity. It wasn't broken. You the one broke it. You saw a man now. See, they don't like. See, people don't like what they have, so they want to change their appearance. They want to change their look. They want to
yeah,
give you this person that it's not them. It's all false. It's all phony. It's fake. It's all hypocritical. It's stupid and it's dumb what people do to themselves, and they will never fix that gap. That because only one thing to fix that gap, and we're missing that, and that's that relationship with God.
yeah.
So you could try all of that thing in the world. What you think all these ladies looking for? They're looking for this thing, and they're never gonna find it. You know what someone told me before? I think it was this crackhead or this dope head. I'm chasing that high, and you would never get it again.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You're chasing it. You're not going to
Yeah.
get it again. So that's why they're out there chasing their net. So people have to learn that you're chasing something that is not real, and you doing all these outer things to fill a gap, and you will fill that gap with all these materialistic things and force yourself, and now you're on equal low. Your life is miserable. It's hell. You're not happy. You're just very miserable because you're unequally yoked. And listen, two believers could be unequally yoked too. Just because you're a believer,
Absolutely.
it's the person character and morals. I don't listen. I don't care if you're a Christian or Christian not. You believe you could you could heal people, whatever, and you treat me like crap. That's a problem. That's a problem. If you believe in the Most High, how the Most High said we're supposed to live, we both have that positive vibes. You're supposed to respect that, what the Word of God say. Don't put your feelings in it, because if you go by your feelings, you're going to end up in a deeper hole.
Hey, read the comments. We have somebody in the chat, Shan. Peep what she last said about people don't people don't date people they add to their lives anymore.
It's looks and vibes. Yes, that's what they're going for. Look and vibes. Listen, hear this now.
On both sides.
Oh my God. See, if I say this, see, and I now all those females that was in the chat from last week to this week, see, they need to be here because they look at the outer. See, they look by sight. See, they walking by sight. They are what I'm not saying their advice wasn't good. I'm not saying their advice wasn't good, but they walking by sight. Oh, I feel like this. Don't you see all these pronouns? I feel like this. I feel like that. I feel like this. I feel like this. I feel like this. I feel like this. But you're not. Do you know how many times I feel like not to go to work? Do you know I didn't feel like coming on this podcast today? But I had to do it. Because I had what? Responsibility.
Duty.
You know what I mean? Accountability. If you say you're going to do something, you're a man of your word. So a lot of people don't want to be held accountable. See, black people hate that word. I'm going to say it. Black people, especially black women and black men, we hate that word, accountability. What? We run from that. Because when you take accountability, you can't blame no one else. So in your mind, if I don't take accountability, I'm not. We're going to have issues. So that's why you see all these people in this marriage, man, it's hell. The relationship is hell. Because they're going by the vibes, the looks, and the vibes.
Shan said the word accountability is acid to be traumatized.
Yeah.
Hey Shan, I don't know if you're able to speak, but yeah, you could join. You could request up to come on the panel and join the conversation with me and the good brother. It's your choice. All right.
All right. Anyone could join, man, and come up and share your point of view, you know?
Hello,
Hi,
Shan. Hello, Shan. How are you?
I'm good. How are you guys?
I'm
Good,
good.
good.
How are
Welcome,
you?
good. Welcome to the panel. I just like to explain the rules here. Anybody who's new, okay? Watch your language. Respect the host. Respect each other, and one mic at a time. Answer the prompt first, and then you can get into the conversation, okay? So the topic today is what does it mean to be equally yoked?
Hmm. First, that's feasible. I can follow those rules. Um, Secondarily, to be equally yoked, I think I said earlier, is to be everything that you ask for, if that makes sense. If you want someone who is emotionally stable, or you want someone who is whole, if you will, you too have to be that and be able to pour into the person that you're asking for because iron sharpens iron, you know? That's what that means to me anyway. You have to be able to add to the person.
Yeah, I agree with that. I agree with that statement. I agree with it.
So we all know that this is faith based first, but I do have a question, Shan. What do you think happens? This may be an obvious question, but I mean this is alive, you know. What do you think the what do you think the I mean, I could say consequences and repercussion, but let's just say, what are the levels of difficulty that could happen in a relationship when someone is not equally yoked?
Oh, the demise ultimately, but
Right.
I don't think, uh, that's a good question. I don't know how to answer. There's so many different
Well, you could.
ways you
Well,
can answer that.
I'll help it this way. You could take it piece by piece. So if you and that person don't have the same spiritual beliefs and spiritual covering, that could definitely cause a conflict, don't you think?
Absolutely can.
Especially
Absolutely.
not even just amongst each other, but let's just say you get married, you have kids. You know,
Hmm.
that could cause confusion in that home. I mean, what do you think?
It could. Best example I can give of that, I have children myself, and I am a different, culturally, I am different than their dad. Once we had children, you have to choose and pick, what side of the, I guess, line you're going to be on. What are you going to teach them? Can you merge those two things? And learning from experience, that's definitely a conversation that should have been had prior to having children. A lot of people don't think about that because they think their households are just going to mesh. And they won't, because you're
Right.
responsible for teaching those children, and teaching them the way that things are going to be in the world. So, yes, it can definitely not go out at well. Grave consequences, because you'll have confusion in your home. Of course, well, in my belief system anyway, the man is the household or the head of your household, so you usually go with what they what they believe. But of course, you don't want to be dismissed. So it's really a lot of tumultuousness can come from not being equally yoked. Got to be careful with that. Financially as well. I talk to the male species about this all the time. You have to make sure that you are financially yoked. It's very, very important because it will bring you down more than it will bring you up.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Uh,
Go ahead, Mr. Fifth.
yeah, I want to address what she said. So before you got on, I talked about that financial demand. That's usually something that women will hold to more than a man in this particular way. Let me get this context out. So men don't really. I'll put it like this. I'll give you an example. If a man is making 80,000 a year, if his woman makes 50,000 a year, he's not tripping off of that. So when you say financial, let's reverse it. Let's say you were making 80K a year and your husband is making 50. I mean, is it throw the whole man away because he only makes 50K? Because you mentioned that as far as equally yoked.
Hmm. I wholeheartedly believe as a man, right? And don't, hey. If you make for me, I work in aerospace engineering. I live pretty well. I expect my husband to be the same. And I would hope that he would have expected me to make the same because I would be a liability if I did not. On the other side of that coin, if he wanted to have children and all those things, for me, I factor in the fact that for 10 months of that time, because pregnancy is 40 weeks, you're going to be sat down. So he would have to make a little bit more because he'd have to be able to take care of the household for a minute there. So that's how I factor it in. But if you come into there and you're just like, I'm going to make 50,000 and I'm just at home eating Doritos, like, no, I don't. I think people should choose better. Reverse or otherwise, you should be equally yoked financially. Man, woman, cat, dog, you should be equally yoked. It's just how that works. Because you have to contribute one way or the other.
But what if I
No.
told you that money has actually nothing to do with, truly it doesn't have anything to do with being equally yoked. What if I told you that?
I understand, but you asked me about the fiscal area.
No, I know, no,
So I
I did.
responded.
I did that on purpose. I did because I like to get into the mind of people. So I respect your honesty. I do. What this shows is it does show the difference between men and women because, like I said, men, we don't put that rule on women like that. I mean, you find many situations. Like, I'll say this, right? and it's gonna get a little sensational, right? So if do you think Jay-Z wouldn't have married Beyonce if Beyonce worked at McDonald's?
I had this conversation with someone and they got mad at me. I said, I hope not.
Same.
And it did not go favorably.
But why not?
It didn't go favorably.
But why not? Because look, Jay's a rich man. He just wants a good woman.
Yes.
You know, I
Hmm.
mean, he can if he has a woman who's nurturing. Because notice I'm talking about character right now. A woman with a nurturing spirit, good character, integrity, morals, ethics. Those are things that matter more to men than a woman making a whole bunch of money, especially if the man
Hmm.
already has the money. So why wouldn't Beyonce be picked? If she was working at McDonald's and Jay pulled up, he saw a beautiful Beyonce at the drive-through. You know what I mean? He's looking at her. He's like, man, that's a beautiful woman. What's she doing working at McDonald's? I'm being
Hmm.
a little funny, but yeah, go ahead.
Because I'm sorry, that took on me. Because in the rooms that Jay Z would be in, right? I'm sure there are other women who have those exact same qualities, right? They could be nurturing, they could be funny, they could be pretty, right? And they could still make the same amount of money that he does, right? So yes, you could go to McDonald's and see her on the cash register, smiling big and smelling like Bath and Body Works. That's possible. And but the thing that should be thought about in that moment is, does she understand how do I put that? Does she understand my finances? Is she going to add to this? Because she's not going to be able to do what you with $1 million can do. So I think a lot of times people don't take that into account. They just take it, hey, she could have my babies. She could be really funny. But what is she contributing to you? These are all things you should be thinking about, just as she should be thinking about.
But I
In my
just
opinion, I don't know.
no, I got you. But I just named all the things she can contribute. See, what I mentioned was things that are intangible, things that don't have a
Mhm.
price. What you're talking about has a price. So that's what I'm saying when it comes to equally yoked, right? We can't be so caught up in the tangibles. Tangibles are things you could touch. Intangibles are things you can't touch. You can't physically touch integrity. You can't physically touch morals, principles. You can't physically touch someone who's caring and understanding, someone who is helping, someone who is supporting. These are intangible things that have no price, but they are so valuable because God forbid you get with that man who's in the same field as you, right? You marry him and he loses his job. Is he not valuable anymore because he lost that job?
Am I answering here?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, I didn't want to interrupt you, but I did start off with there are people in the same room who could have those qualities, and I delved into the finances and what she can. Wait, let me answer your question first. That was disrespectful. No, that does not mean that you throw that man away. Not at all. But had you thought about it prior to, that man would be prepared, and you wouldn't have to put yourself in a space to where you have to take that on. I don't believe in going into things unprepared. So it could just be that. It could just wholeheartedly be that. But I am a firm believer in, yes, the tangible is okay and the intangible is amazing, but you cannot have one without, you can't ignore the other simply because that's what you're looking for, if that makes sense. Yes, it's great that they have all these intangible qualities, but that does not mean that I have to somehow circumnavigate having all these tangibles that matter, because that does matter. If they are wasting my money or they don't understand how to spend responsibly or have any idea of fiscal responsibility, that is an important thing to have. Not to say that her at McDonald's, she can't have those things. I'm just saying make sure to look for those things as well as the intangibles, is all I'm saying. Just look for them both because they are equally as important to me.
Okay, cool. Yeah, no problem, Shan. I respect that. Hey, let me go to somebody's new on the panel. Andrew, how you doing, Andrew?
I'm doing wonderful. How you doing, host?
Good, no problem. Hey, we like to explain the rules to people who are new up here, okay? And that is watch your language, respect the host, respect each other, one mic at a time, and answer the topic, the prompt before you get into the conversation with everyone else, okay? So
Sure.
the question is, what does it mean to be equally yoked? This topic is inspired by the scripture specifically in Second Corinthians 6:14. Do not be unequally yoked with unbelievers. Okay. And then it goes on and then I'll read it in a second. But Andrew, what does it mean to be equally yoked to you, Andrew?
Sure. So I will speak from my perspective. To be equally yoked means you guys have like share at least similar value. For example, you're a Christian man, she's a Christian woman, you both value God. Your goals both align, you know what I mean? I mean, not every relationship is perfect, but at least the foundation you guys start is you started in a truthful and good foundation. You started the foundation on God. Because first of all, like if you have an unbeliever with an unbeliever, it's gonna be really hard though because there are some things the unbeliever want to do, the believer doesn't want to do. You know what I mean, so it's like a conflict of interest. But when you're equally yoked, though, you guys can work as one in the like in a good road, though. And I also speak from my perspective also. So basically, I've talked to a few women though, but I actually had some bad experiences with them because basically they were saying that I find it those were a red flag for me also because basically they basically told me that if you want me to if they want if they're going to love me they need more money. I was like, that sounds weird. I blocked them. After a few times I was like, what is going on? And then thankfully I've actually found a good one, a good woman, and she was actually a breath of fresh air though. But I was like, wow, I'm never going back to dating. I know. I was like, I'm locking her in. That's it though. So.
Okay, let me let me get to my brother Zacchaeus. He's here. Zacchaeus, what up, brother?
Hey, what's good, man? What's good, Yard Chat? What's good, Fifth? What's good, y'all?
All
Good to
right,
be
all right.
here. Yeah,
What,
man.
what's going on? My podcast brother, my best friend, my partner, my brother in the gospel, my brother in ministry,
Yes. Amen.
brother,
Yeah.
brother. You know what this means? You know what it means. So this is probably going to be easy for you to explain. And you're married, right?
Yes. Oh, yeah.
So today's topic: what does it mean to be equally yoked? Second Corinthians 6:14.
Equally yoked. It works. Let me tell you something. When you want the peace of mind, and you have someone that not everything's gonna be perfect, but you just know that God is the center in your relationship, and you know that you may have your ups and downs, but you know you're in a cohesive kind of atmospheres. It works. Let me tell you something. When you're equally yoked, it's no because God is not the author of confusion. It just works. I mean, it's like you not everything you don't have everything like we don't like the same things, but the positive outweighs the negative, and we are enjoying each other's company. We're just in alignment with the word of God, and we have a understanding of each other, especially when you have kids. That is being equally yoked when you have kids is crucial. Woo! It is crucial, my brother. Let me tell you something. It is crucial because you want them to have the foundation. You want them to have to see that mom and dad is in unison with each other, and we stand together, and they see that. So later on in life, so they can mimic it. They can mimic it. So it being equally yoked, man, is so important when you're sharing things, when you're about to live your life with somebody. And when you about to get married to that person, that is so important. You don't know how, I mean, some people that's not even married don't know how important that is. That's very important, man. I mean, oh my gosh. Woo. That is, man. I can't express it more enough. Yeah.
Mr. Yard Chat,
Yeah.
anything you want to say?
Yeah, go back what Shane say. She said something about I know you're correct though about the money part, but one thing I know how God work, and we gotta look at this point of view too. Is like when He bring that person to you, who is right for you. Do you see how? And I don't want to say this, but a woman will look at it different. But when God bring that person to you, it's not what you look at it out, or you say, "Oh man, that's not what I want," and not look at it by faith. That's what the word of God say. You don't travel by sight, but by faith. So a lot of people, all of these demands, they're looking at sight, what they want, all the and what they see, or they see the money he could afford, the restaurant, it's everything, but they're not. So God is saying, okay, but God bring this person to you. No, no, he's not making this. He's not making. He was making 50 grand. No, no. But God is saying, listen, when you come together, you're going to increase more. But they're not looking at it. They're looking at what they see in front of them. No, I can't see that. So once you got that mind frame, you automatically disqualify that person that God bring for you. And you automatically say, oh, this is what I want. Yeah, yeah, God, this. Over here, yes. Boom. Now you make that choice and you wind up going backwards instead of going forward. Because eventually it's going to end. And God is not a God going back. He's a God going forward. But I think a lot of people, faith is not even on the table when it comes to marriage. They don't even think about it. Money. They look at it, and it's an investment, but they're looking at money. That's it. Money. And it doesn't work. Because if you're doing it for money and not for the love of God that bring you together, it's not going to work.
I do want to add something also, Joe. I do see your point regarding that, but I would say the reason a lot of people think like that though is because of society. You know what I mean? Society keep telling us you have to make money. You have to, you know what I mean? It's
You have
society.
music playing in the background, turn it down. Somebody play music.
Oh, sorry about that.
If I may, for a second.
Yeah, go ahead, Shan.
I feel like, I hate saying I feel like what I said, it seems was misconstrued. I do think money is an important part. I don't think it's the whole part. And I often wonder why it's so taboo to talk about wanting financial security, if that makes any sense. I'm not saying that you guys are insinuating that it is, but I always wonder why, if you put it at the forefront as if it is not an important part of your existence, you need it to thrive, why it's looked at as a negative thing versus you just wanting to ensure that you are stable within the space you're entering.
It's a double standard in society, though.
I know that's why I asked it as a separate question.
Because check this out. In the book of Matthew, what does it say? It said, you got to seek God's kingdom and his righteousness first. Then all other things will be added on. That's the benefits what you get to serving God. You don't think God know that you need a new car? You don't think God know you need a fancy house? God make you. He know how you is. He know you want that Gucci bag, that what Louis Vuitton. He know these things. So if you serving him, he know your lifestyle. He gonna make sure that he take care of that lifestyle. But if you put the lifestyle over him, it's a problem. And we forget these little things. There's nothing wrong with having money because all the great men in the Bible was rich. They had money, wealth.
Hmm?
Majority of the men had wealth in the Bible. And the Bible speak about money. That is not the good way to go. If you make the money become the number one priority in your marriage or your life, you're gonna have problems.
These are valid points. I'm simply asking though. I've noticed in a lot of spaces, you can, if you bring up financial security, it's seen as a negative if you put it at the forefront. Yes, it is very bad to make it the whole of your relationship. I'm just asking why it's typically seen as a negative if your thoughts are, because two things can be mutually exclusive. I can have God at the center of my household, but understand that I need a stable, I need a foundation to stand on. But I always, not here in this space, and I can appreciate that, but I was just saying that I've noticed when you put that at the forefront and you say, hey, I also want security fiscally, it's usually seen as a negative, and I don't know why.
Well, let me. I will answer that. So it's about context, right? Everything is context. So what you said is not a bad thing. Here's where it becomes bad when it's only that. You understand? That's when it becomes bad because at the end of the day, men are the proposers. We the ones who ask y'all to get married, right? So being that we're the ones who asked y'all to get married and we're deemed to be more responsible when things go bad or not financially and anything else. Because I'm gonna tell you something right now, Shane. Let's be realistic, right? If you lose your job, no one's gonna tell the husband to leave you. But guess what? There's a sister circle that would tell you to leave your husband if he loses his job. Am I right or am I wrong?
Within my circle, you would be wrong, but
No,
I do
not
understand.
your circle, but a woman's circle. Go ahead.
I'm a woman though. That's why I exclude. I had to throw that out there. Do I understand that in generalization world? Yes, that would be true. It's the internet. I get it. But I am saying that there are circles of women who understand the opposite. Is all I'm saying. There are women who understand the opposite, just as there are men who understand the opposite.
Yeah, and shout outs to those women because I do know women, but these are women who are, they're good. These women are women that men would marry because she was like, oh no, I couldn't leave my husband. There's no way I could leave my husband of 10 years. He been holding us down for 10 years and then he loses his job for 10 months. There's no way I could leave a husband like that. But I'm gonna tell you something right now. When you look at these rates, divorce rates, you'll be surprised. You'd be hard pressed. You know what I'm saying? You'd be surprised. You see things, sadly, where a man could be in a marriage for 10 years, have a job for 10 years. He's been supporting his wife. He's been either paying all the bills or most of the bills, right? The man loses his job. He just so happens to not have a job for a couple of months, or he gets a job, but that job doesn't pay what the old job did. And now he's not even respecting in his own home. So the reason why I think I can't comment on all spaces, I can't, but I will say this: it's a negative if women see men on a space saying that they should divorce their wife if she stopped giving up, if she stopped having intercourse with him. You know what I'm saying? I don't think many women would stand by that and think that that's okay, that a husband should leave his wife because she stopped having intercourse with him. You know what I'm saying? So this is why on the other end, we say, hey, when fellas are picking a wife, they need to know if them vows actually mean something to her. The vows, the marriage vows, the for richer, for poorer, you know, in sickness and health. Like these are things that in a marriage it's going to happen. It's going to happen. You know what I'm saying? And I guess it's just all about realism. And that's why I said it's context. Now, if that context is not being spoken, then I can understand where things can get a little murky. But that context has to be there. And then also, I would say another thing from between men and women, right? Men really have to know what they're marrying because I mean, you could marry someone who could actually destroy your life, and vice versa, and vice versa, you know. So, but I hope that kind of answers your question, Shan. I just want to give a perspective to context and why it matters when these conversations come forward. There's nothing wrong with financial security, but we also know that there is a such thing as, sadly, sometimes you fall on a hard time. And guess what? We're going to see what your marriage is made of when you actually fall on a hard time. That's the test. Because a lot of women are okay with men as long as they're thriving. But when they're no longer thriving anymore, that's when you see what your woman is made of. And I'll land.
By the way, host, I have a question for you, though. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Yes. The question I have, though, I'm speaking from a man's perspective, though. Would you recommend Gen Z men to be married in this dating culture?
Um, Gen Z are millennials, right? No, that's after millennial, right?
Yeah, I think so.
So
I'm
Gen Z would be
2005, though, so
e-
continue.
yeah. If you don't mind, can I ask your age, sir?
Sure, I'm 21.
21. Okay, I'm 38. Okay, so
Mhm.
I'm the generation that's right above y'all, right? This is what I suggest. I support marriage and families. I will always support that, done the correct way, right? Um, I do suggest that they get married if that's something they want to do. They're sure about it. They're actually ready. Uh, the person that they're marrying is on the same page with them. They understand they that they've had good examples at least. You know, um, hopefully, um, hopefully they've had good examples. They actually have someone in their family or in their community, who has wisdom to pass down to them, mentoring. I think we all need that. Even myself need that, and I've had that, in my life, mentoring. You know what I'm saying? Their upbringing, if they were raised to be married, because a lot of people were not raised to be married, or if they have a desire to be married, because you could not be raised to be married, but you could desire it, and then you could definitely go to some good examples, some people. You take it to God. You ask Him to prepare you to be a husband. Prepare Him for you to be a wife. These are things that you
Oh,
could prep for. But I do suggest that if they want to, yeah. But if they don't want to, I don't think you force marriage on people because realistically, not everyone is going to be married, and not everyone is fit to be married. To be honest with you. So that's my answer, Andrew.
okay. Thank you so much, host. I gotta go, but you really answered my question, though. So peace be with you and everyone.
You too, Andrew. Thank you, brother. Hey, man, you're always
All
welcome
right.
to come back. You were good. You were very respectful, sir. Thank you, Andrew. Come back.
God bless.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, I think he's still in the chat now. Now you guys are married, Mr. Yard Chat and Zacchaeus. Would you like to give an answer? I know he asked me, but I think you guys could give a better answer because y'all two actually married.
Hey, you wanna go ahead?
To be honest, and people gonna say I'm crazy, right? It's not crazy. I don't give married advices. You know why? Because marriage is both parties' journey, and they have to figure it out. It's a journey, right? So why would I interfere with somebody good time, bad time journey? They take a covenant that they're going to go through the good time and bad time. That's their journey.
Yeah.
Not saying we can't get advice, but I'm not. When it comes down to marriage, I'm very, very careful. Why? Because people will tell you their one point story.
Mm-hmm.
and the next person do the same thing. So it boiled down to accountability.
Yeah.
So I really don't biblical, yeah. You want to hear biblical? I give you the biblical, but I am not going to give you my personal advice.
Yeah.
Biblical, yeah. I give you the biblical point what God say. But that's God's word. But me, nope.
Everybody journey is different. Is it?
So Zacchaeus, he was asking, and I understood how he asked it,
Mm-hmm.
because he said Gen Z generation like him.
Yeah.
So he's asking for himself, but he's also asking for his generation. So, he wants to know, do we even suggest that guys like in his generation actually get married? So, I mean, that's actually the nature of his question. So, what do you think? What would you suggest? Because Zacchaeus, you interact with people of his age group, almost every day.
Yeah.
Young 20s.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
what would your be advice to, if not just him specifically, but his generation?
I would say this. Make sure that you're friends. If you're gonna if you're gonna um look to get married to someone, make sure that you enjoy each other's company to the fullest. I don't mean, because there's people that date, but I see this generation, even a little earlier than this. This generation, they get upset when someone calls them or someone texts them every day. If you getting upset because if someone that you claim that you're excited about, and claim that you want to spend time with, and claim that you care about and love, you should not. You should be longing to hear their voice, or longing to, or every day. Every day should be it should be natural. It should be natural that you. Oh, I hear from you, honey. I'm so glad I hear from you. I didn't hear your voice today. How come you didn't call me today? You should be excited about each other. It shouldn't be like, oh, I already spoke to her yesterday. I'll let her skip for 2 days, and I'll speak to her by the weekend. I'll see her by the weekend. People do what's most important to them. And if you taking your time out to spend with somebody that you care and love, then you're gonna do that. It shouldn't be like a task. It shouldn't be like a chore or a task. You're gonna do it. And my advice to him is to find somebody that you enjoy, and just enjoy being around, and they're happy to share things with, and most importantly, pray together. Most importantly, to follow the principles of the Word of God, and equally being equally yoked is a. I'm glad you brought this topic up, because to me, I would tell him to also as well to make sure that you're with somebody that you're equally yoked to. You're not gonna agree with everything, and you're gonna like some things. You're not gonna like some things, but at least the foundation is God, and you have that. That's what I would advise him. I would advise him those solid points right there. Yeah, that's my advice to him.
That's a good point.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's what's up. You know. So, hey Shannon, sorry, Shan, you still there?
Hmm.
Okay. So, let me kind of take the conversation this direction. Okay. So, in the dating phase, these are things that have to be checked. You got to know what a person, how a person functions, how they think, things that they what they stand for, because I'm a firm believer in what you believe is also what you teach, you know.
Hmm.
So that's another reason why being equally yoked matters. And so the thing is that and to kind of further your point about the money thing, money is surface level. At some point, we got to get beneath the surface. You understand? So this is why when we have these in-depth conversations, we have to talk about, you know, your your morals, your integrity. Especially integrity. Integrity is doing the right thing even when no one is looking. You know what I'm saying? And that is very important. To be with a man who has money and no integrity will destroy your family. Destroy your family. Because how did he get that money? You know what I'm saying? And that will matter deeply. I've seen situations where uh women, not you, but there have been women who said, I don't care how he gets the money as long as he has it. So a lot of women are out here dating, not a lot, but a minority of women are out here with men who are scammers. And scammers, that's not their money, that's other people's money. You know what I'm saying? He's got the money, but that's not integrity. And then secondly, how he treats you. That matters. If a man is not respecting you, if you're not respecting him, if he's not, if he's not a man of conviction, if he feels like he could do no wrong, and that's the thing, Shan. Here's the thing about when you get with people with money, where it's just money. You know what I mean? I'm just saying where it's just money, right? Is that I'm hearing women who are asking for this man, right, of means. But guess what? Once they get this man of means, he understands that many other women want him too. So he's in high demand, but he's in low supply. And I'm talking about the amount of money. And, we have to get realistic here. You can have financial security with a consistent man, even if he doesn't make a whole bunch of money, but he's consistent. You understand? Because no one is checking for the consistency of that man. And so you can still be secure in that way, meaning that he'll always have drive, he'll always have ambition, and he'll always make sure the household is held together as best as he can. But guess what? He has you as his helpmate, and that's where you come in. That's where you come in and where he falls short. And that's another reason why this matters as far as the man that you marry. And then also the woman that he's marrying. You know what I'm saying? Because a woman of wisdom and good character will always support her man. You know what I'm saying? During the good and the bad. And what I'm saying is we have to always make sure that we go beneath the surface. It's the iceberg theory with the Titanic. They saw the iceberg, the top part of it, and thought, "Hey, we can go around it." The iceberg was the size of a mountain under the water. Boom, hit it. Boom, the boat sinks. Right? That's the marriage. If you don't know what's under that water with that iceberg, the marriage sinks. What do you think about that, Shay?
I absolutely love that you used the Titanic. I feel like we're saying the same thing, just kind of in reverse, because I'm speaking obviously from a woman's point of view, but at the
Mm-hmm.
same time, saying it as a man with means, right? I'm not a man, obviously, but I feel like as a man with means, when you are looking for your partner, yes, look for that. Make sure that they are going to pour into you, that they are going to multiply what you have versus take away from what you have. So I love that you use that because I think when looking for a mate, most people do just look at the outside. It's like, oh, I like how she is with her children. Or, oh, I like how pretty she is. She has a nice smile. She's funny. But they don't know who you are actually. They don't know whether you know how to spend money or how to allocate money appropriately. They have no idea. So I love that you used that.
Mr. Yarchat, anything you want to say?
No, good point. I agree with your point. That was a good example. That was a good
That's that's
example.
that's what's up. Zacchaeus, you want to comment on that? Because you're married as well.
Yeah, it's very good to bring that home. Yeah, because it's definitely for sure It's more than like with the Temptation songs and beauty's only skin deep. So it's more than the beauty and the nice smile. It's more than that. It's the character of a person. Money only makes you. This only is a tool to get things into, and it's a tool to help other people out and to help you out and your family as well. But the longevity in relationship with God and your character, how you treat that woman, how you treat each other, how you respect each other, and that's important for real. That's important. So, yeah,
Yeah, I tell you, man, I want men and women, to have beautiful, thriving marriages. You know what I'm saying? And a lot of things get missed. Because I think a lot of people who marry each other, were probably not supposed to be married to begin with. They're forcing it. You know what I'm saying? And it's because of the surface level things that we're talking about. Oh, I married her because she's beautiful, physically, but she's not beautiful on the inside. You know what I mean? Or I married him because he's a doctor, but then you're wondering why he's not home the amount of time you thought he was. Well, he's a doctor, so he's on call. So you can't please everyone. Somebody is going to be unhappy about something. You know what I'm saying? And there's a sacrifice. There's a compromise, as long as it's a healthy compromise. But there's a compromise. And then as far as going back to equally yoked, right, and still staying on it, how your children are raised matters. Like, you got to be aligned, on that. You know what I'm saying? Because you could have your belief, your wife could have her belief. But like I said, what you believe is what you teach, you know? And so that will go into each other and that will go into the kids. And, kids are sponges. They soak up what you give them. You know what I'm saying? Until they get to the point where they reject it. And then now you can't even get it to them anymore. You know what I'm saying? Zacchaeus, what's your comment on that, man? You got children. Zacchaeus.
hey, yeah, I got kids. Yeah, man. Kids are sponges, and they watch what you do. And when you think they're not watching, they're watching you. So that's why it's so important to have a foundational, healthy relationship amongst each other, and always be in unison with each other, because kids can tell when you're divided. They feed their sponges. They can feed off of your energy and the vibes. So it's important to and also important to teach them. You got to talk to your kids all the time. Always talk to your kids, but they watch you too as well. When you think they're not watching, they're watching you. So that's important, especially when it comes to selecting a mate. All these things play a big, major factor in selecting, because and I heard you say earlier, whoever you wind up with definitely affects your whole entire life. They can compliment you, or they can destroy you. They can destroy you. And when I say destroy, like a city without walls, destroy you in a major way. So that's why it's important to take it serious and to just know who you're dealing with and know who you're getting with. That's why it's not good to rush into a relationship, rush into marriage. You gotta take your time. Gotta take your time to know that person, because people can say Lord, Lord, but it's by their fruits you shall know them. Oh my goodness. So true. So yeah, man. So that's important.
Yeah, hard times challenge relationships, man. And that's when you really see what relationships are made of. When everybody is saying yes to each other, there's no protest. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Because everyone's getting what they want. But a moment that no is said is when a person's true character will come out. And that don't matter what you got going on at the time. Because as soon as you get that no, it's you telling me no? Me? You know what I'm saying? And that's when that comes out. And this is why when we teach intentional relationships to marriage, that we teach all these things. There are so many things that make up a building, right? You have your foundation, which is first. You know, then you have your rebar, then you have your walls, you have your windows, you have your roof. You know what I'm saying? You know, when it comes to building a house, you got those who build the outside of the house and those who come in on the inside of the house. That's where you get your carpenters. You know, you get your
Sorry, go get mine
electrician,
now.
you get your
You get it now?
your plumbing. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I gotta go. Yeah,
And so
drop it.
and so there's so many things
Guys,
that
with the
make up
fridge.
a
Yeah, okay.
house. You know?
Yeah.
Yeah, Zacchaeus, I had to mute you, man, for a second. But yeah, there's so many things that can that play a role. Everything has a role to play in a relationship leading to a marriage, in a marriage, building families. There's so many hands that go together. You know, it's community. You know, Mr. Yarch had anything to say about that?
I'm looking in the chat here. I'm looking at was that Zora King? Oh boy. See, I will invite that person on, but their language, they can't control themselves. That person cannot control themselves. Hurt, everything is in one, mad at the world, mad at God, mad at man. I don't know if that she's a female. Let me double check because she is just talking some things in the chat that's very.
Well, Zoe King doesn't have a actual picture, so we don't know if Zoe King or Zoe King is a man or a woman. To be honest with you,
It's a guy. It's a guy. I just saw his page.
well, Shan, we know you have a picture of why did I get married? I did notice that, but Shan, I took a chance on you coming up, but clearly you're a woman, so I get it, Shan. I got you.
Yeah, but man, this people, I'm telling you, man.
It's a lot of
Listen. I didn't mean to. I had to look at your profile. Then I saw who you is. Then I addressed you the proper way. I couldn't see your picture. I'm thinking it's a picture, and I had to zoom in. Then I had to go to your page, and I look and see. Yeah, but you speaking like that, you sound like you're mad at the whole world. So you can't come up here with this attitude.
And you know what's kind of messed up? As the host, it won't let me. Looks like Angie's in the chat. Hey, Angie. As the host, I can't see someone. It won't let me go to their profile. But as a guest,
That's
it
how it is on
would.
TikTok.
Yeah, I don't know. That's so backwards.
It is what it is. That's TikTok for you.
Hey, Angie, if you're available, you can join up. I've been waiting for you to come back up, and you can join the conversation. I'm here to listen and grab
Beyonder,
some
how are you,
conversation. Okay,
Beyonder?
no problem, Angie.
Beyonder,
Oh wait, hold
Beyonder, if you
on.
come on, he could come
Okay,
on too, Beyonder.
okay, Angie's requesting. Yeah, Beyonder, what up, brother? Angie,
Oh, my team is back. The Beyonder.
hello,
What?
Angie.
Hey y'all.
Yo,
Happy
hey,
Friday. What is it?
no,
Thursday?
Oh, today's Thursday.
Thursday.
Happy Thursday.
Happy
Yeah,
Thursday.
and also happy Black History Month. Yeah.
Yes, happy Black History Month.
Absolutely. Hey, Beyonder, if you there, you can come up, Beyonder. Shout outs to you, brother. There we go, Beyonder. There we go. Beyonder, what's up, good brother?
How we doing?
Yeah,
Good,
man, what's
good.
going on?
Hey, I'm gonna get to you in a second, Beyonder. You know how we do. Hey, Angie.
Yeah, of course.
Hey,
Yes,
Angie.
sir. Yes,
All
sir.
right. Hey, before you get into the conversation with us, okay, we do have another lady on the panel, a nice, respectful lady. Her name is Shan. So the question is, what does it mean to be equally yoked? And as a reference, I have 2 Corinthians 6:14 as the reference. But go ahead, Angie. What does it mean to be equally yoked?
Let me go read the Corinthians 6:14, and I might have an answer for you.
I could read it. I have it
Okay,
ready.
thank you. I
All right.
appreciate
No.
that.
Yeah. No
I was
problem.
gonna have
No
to pull my
problem.
Bible out.
No, it's all good. It's my responsibility here to do this, all right? Because I picked the subject. So it says here, 2 Corinthians 6:14, do not be unequally yoked together with unbelievers. For what fellowship has righteousness with lawlessness? And what communion has light with darkness? And what accord has Christ with Belial? Or what part has a believer with an unbeliever? And what agreement has the temple of God with idols? For you are the Lord. For you are the temple of the living God. As God has said, I dwell in them, I walk among them, I will be their God, and they shall be my people. Therefore, come out from among them and be separate, says the Lord. Do not touch what is unclean, and I will receive you. I will be a father to you, and you shall be my sons and daughters, says the Lord Almighty. Verse 14 through 18. All right, Angie, you could speak to that, and you could also expand to other things that you feel equally yoked means to you. And then also, because I'll ask a second part, and that is, what do you think could happen in a relationship, marriage, where you're not equally yoked? Go ahead.
I think equally yoked is being, from what it sounds like, my connotation of equally yoked is that y'all are in acquaintance with one another, or things are adjacent to one another in close proximity of some sort. And I think that, like, with the Corinthians 6:14, that he was trying to say, like, anything that is not, I guess, serving me, don't yoke yourself up with that, or don't associate yourself or try to affiliate yourself with that, or don't move with that. Because when you move that way, I guess, like, you essentially, even though you may not be doing everything that they're doing, the fact that you around, I guess, encouraging it, is enabling it, I guess. And then I don't think that it, I think that in a relationship, it can be a little detrimental if both parties are equally yoked. Cause I do feel like men have to be the leaders. They have to be. And that's where I'm gonna leave that.
So let me go back to you, Angie. I want to understand that. Are you okay? Say that last line for me, because I don't know if you were saying that the man, if the man is not the leader, he's not equally yoked.
No, I
What
was
am I hearing? I'm sorry.
like, it's not good in a relationship if both parties are equally yoked. Because I'm not sure what it means, but based off of, I guess, that, and just taking my connotation of it off the little excerpt, I don't think that men and women, I don't think it's gonna serve well if they're equally yoked.
It's better when they're equally yoked.
Why do you say that? My mom's chiming in now. Why you say
Yeah,
that?
that means y'all have a good understanding, good communication, so it's equal. Nobody think they're above each other. You understand me?
Mm-hmm.
That's why I call equally yoked, because y'all on the same mindset
Okay.
of where y'all want to be in life. You understand?
Mm-hmm.
And it's gonna make the relationship much stronger and last longer.
Okay.
And there's nothing can break it because you equally yoked. Like, okay, you a God fearing person, he also a God fearing person. You
Mm-hmm.
understand me? Y'all want the same thing. You want to live a Christian life.
Mm-hmm.
He wants the same thing. You understand me?
Yeah.
So that's what it is when it's equally yoked.
Okay. That's what my mom had to say, guys.
Hey, your mother spot on. Shout outs to her, because yes, you can still be okay. The point of being equally yoked doesn't negate and beyond you can come back. Uh being equally yoked doesn't take away God's order in terms of the marriage, man, women, child. And she described it in the best of layman terms that, that can be described. So your mother's spot on. So yeah, that's what she means, Angie. And that's what that means, is that you got, because it's faith-based first, you know? So, I understand exactly what she's saying. And yes, that's exactly what that means. So yeah, but it doesn't take away the role and position of the order. Obviously, the Bible doesn't contradict itself, so we know that. But no, your mother's spot on. Shout out to your mother. That was beautiful. I love. I hear wisdom in her voice. That was beautiful.
She know her
Yeah.
Bible too, so
Listen,
Hey,
listen.
hey.
You
Shout outs
better
to
get
mama.
a
Go ahead, y'all chat.
you better get a line of lives from that lady. You better soak it
There
all
you
up.
go.
You better
I'm
soak it
trying,
all up.
y'all. I'm trying.
She don't take it. She don't take it.
Hey,
Listen,
If she
she
take
will.
it,
She will. She will. It takes some time, but she will.
That that she will, and like I say to people, especially for the men and women who are in their 20s, keep coming here. We'll get you right. We'll get you right. There we go. Yo, Beyond, are you there?
like I try to tell her, you cannot change a person. You can only
Yes.
change you.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sorry. I was driving. I guess my thing
In a
disconnected from the
relationship,
thing.
it called compromise, right?
Yes, Mama.
Everybody have their flaws. So you may do something that he don't like, and then that's your way, but he don't like it.
Mm,
You cannot say, well, oh, I don't like what he's doing when you're not changing. So it called compromise, it called communication, and it called, you have to understand another person. You can't change a person. You can only change you. That
mm,
person have to change him or herself. So most people go in a relationship, oh, I'm gonna change this person. No, you can't. And that's their downfall. You can change a person. They gotta change themselves.
hmm.
You can only
Yes,
change
Mama.
you. Okay?
Yes, Mama. Yeah, I like
So
that, Mama.
I try
Yeah.
to tell her that, you know, everybody got flaws. So try to compromise, try to work it out. Because sometimes the flaws that this person have, you may think it's bad. But then, okay, I'm gonna leave that person. Then you go with somebody that's done it way worse than what you had.
True.
Okay? Am I right or am I wrong?
You're
No,
right.
you're
You're
right.
right.
You're right.
You're
You're right,
100%
Mama.
right on that. You're right.
Hey, Angie's in good hands. I love that wisdom. I love it.
You
man.
see, you see how it is. I know beyond the one, but let me just say that. You see how it is. So it starts from the family foundation of structure. So when you don't have that, man, people grow up. They do what they want to do, and it's not morally right. They have choice to do what they want to do, but is it morally right? And that's what we at in the world right now. People just doing things, but is it morally right? I said no. I mean, morally, how the world going, a lot of things is wrong, but people are making choices. They want to do what they want to do. You know? It's sad though. It's sad. You know what I mean? But the equal yoke part of it, man, like Angie mom said, she hit it right on the nail, man. I, there's nothing I could say. We can't say nothing. Cause it's
Nope.
true.
Oh
Hey,
yeah.
Nothing else to
Beyonder, what's up, brother?
Hey, what's
Hey, what's
going on?
good, man? It's good to be here, man. Oh, this
All
is
right,
good.
Beyonder, how you doing, brother? Welcome back. I love seeing familiar faces come back. This is what we call building a network. You know what I'm saying?
Sir.
A camaraderie, a TikTok family. I like that.
Right.
So the question, brother, is what does it mean to be equally yoked? Go.
Prior to hearing the passage from Second Corinthians, I assumed that it was, being on the same page as your partner. And it's kind of funny because when I met my fiance, I started dating my fiance, and we weren't equally yoked, I guess, because I wasn't. It's not that I didn't believe, in Christ. It's just that I didn't care. But she was heavy in church, and she was heavy on prayer and all that stuff. I didn't really care that much. But she never forced her hand or imposed her will on me to learn or to want to seek Christ. That just came naturally with being with her and whatnot. So, at first we weren't equally yoked, but I wasn't. I was receptive, I suppose. And over time, I became, more into it. And she would tell you that I'm more into reading and all that stuff more than she is now. Not to say that I'm better than her in any type of way, but we're on the same page for the most part, and we read together and whatnot. We go to church together. So I would say as of right now we're equally yoked. But I guess like if someone's wanting to be with someone and they're not necessarily not a believer, that doesn't. I don't think that would mean that they can't date or can't get to know each other. I just think that in time you have to kind of allow the Holy Spirit to work on them if they're open to it. If they're not open to it and they're kind of like hard headed and have a hard heart, then sure I wouldn't waste my time with that person. But I guess like people can't change people. Only the Holy Spirit can do that. I guess everyone has their paths and their battles and trials and whatnot. You just have to allow the Holy Spirit to work in them. And then if you're with someone like I am with my fiance, like the Holy Spirit works on me, I became equally yoked to her, and now we're on the same page. And now we're engaged, about to get married. So it all works out in the end. It doesn't always have to be like like you can't be on the same. You don't have to start off on the same page. You can love them where they're at, but don't leave them where they're at. That's kind of how it worked with my fiance and myself.
Yeah, I like that. That was, man, listen, I could relate to that because guess what? You know, you really you love that person. Then when you find that person, oh my God, that person not a believer. But guess what? Hear what the word of God says. See, the word of God have word for everything. Let your light shine. Be the example. So she didn't bother you. She didn't, oh, this, that, oh, that, beyond that, you got to do this. No. She prayed, said, God, let your will be done. And look, now she didn't force you. So the word of God said you got, even though you're unequally yoked, but you have to let your light shine. And that person eventually will see your light shine, person you're happy. When things get rough, that person's so happy. God make a way. So she's doing all that thing. God is going to shine, let her light shine to you. And you go say, wait a minute here. What she's doing over there? What are you doing? You reading the Bible? You praying? What? Let me try that, and boom,
Yeah.
she let
Yeah.
her light shine in front of you. So that's what happened, and you became a
Yeah.
believer.
She bared fruit, that I didn't even
Yeah.
know. I didn't know anything about the Bible at all. I knew like stories and a few verses, but I didn't know what I was getting myself into. And then I mean, me compared now to like who I was before. I mean, there are times where I'm complaining today, and I'm like, oh man, I'm not where I want to be. But then when I look back who I used to be, it's like, wow, I really have come a long way. It just takes time, and it's a lifelong battle. You're not going to be who you really want to be overnight or even in a couple of years. But it just, when you take your faith and your
Work in
walk,
progress, man. Work in
it's a work in progress.
progress.
Exactly, work in progress. I agree. Yep.
Yeah. Anybody have something to say? Quiet. You know what I mean? It's quiet. Anyone have something to say? Angie, you have anything to say?
Hey man, just driving over here, but yeah. So I'm gonna check you guys soon, okay?
All right, man.
Yeah, Sunday, yeah, man. So blessings,
All right, brother.
definitely blessings. Fifth General blessings, Yard Chat. Thank you for
All
having
right,
me
Zach.
on.
All right,
God
Zach. Kids,
bless.
we'll be live again Saturday on TikTok. All right,
Yo,
so
yeah, yes, that's
yeah.
right.
And then Sunday is the panel. Hey, matter of fact, hey, Mr. Your Chat, since we
Yeah.
got more viewers, you want to promote the YouTube panel coming up?
Yeah, Sunday. Matter of fact, Beyond are going to join us on Sunday. You know what I mean?
There we go.
Yeah, Beyond are going to join us on
Yeah.
Sunday. So, Sunday we're going to have our first live panel with all multiple guests. Some on TikTok, some people from Instagram, some people on Instagram, TikTok, and we're going to be talking about mental health. I believe that's a topic that we need to speak
Oh
about
yes.
and share our views and insights and knowledge what we know, and same thing we do over here, man. We're gonna take it on over by YouTube, and It's going to be 2 p.m. Saturday, it's Sunday, February 8th at 2 p.m. We're going to be live, and the topic for discussion is mental health.
Yeah, Angie, lock in with us. We're gonna get you on a future show. Because I think our panelists are locked in, right?
Yeah, we are locked in. It's supposed to be like
Okay.
10, man. 10 people, but
Okay.
it's supposed to be 10 people panel, and hopefully everyone comes on. But so far everyone confirmed. I'm following up, what I mean? I'm following up. I've been following up yesterday. I'm gonna follow up, tomorrow, then Saturday. I do the final follow up. Probably just follow up on Saturday, make sure to confirm with everybody that everything is good to go. 2 p.m. Sunday, February 8th.
Yeah.
YouTube live, yes.
Yeah, I should be
That's
there.
what's up.
I'm off that day, so I have church, and then obviously, after that, I'm chilling. So I
All
should be able to
right.
make. Matter of fact, yes, I'll be on there as well, but my girlfriend, my fiance, is gonna be there listening probably as well.
Yeah, man. Let them all listen, man, and share their input. I mean, it's all
Yeah.
about sharing input on this topic. It's a very sensitive topic, man. Mental health. You know what I mean? I don't want it, but I watched a video today. What happened in Manhattan, in New York? Because the mayor was speaking about it. The police was called to someone residency, and the person, had I think was diagnosed with being a schizophrenic, but when the police went there, it didn't end good.
It was in Queens.
Yeah, in Queens, he attacked the officer, and I don't see anywhere else the officer could have do what run out the house, but you don't know what this guy's doing. You know what I mean? Because he's coming at the officer with and the officer had to protect himself and his partner.
Well, can I weigh in?
Yeah.
I work with the mentally disturbed
Mm-hmm.
individual statewide. I work for the state of New York. Okay?
Yeah.
And we get training every year. How many training on how to deal with them? The point is, police are trained to diffuse violent situation, right? Now, this man is mentally disturbed. There's other things he could have used that what you call it?
Taser.
The taser. He could have used the taser, right? Hello?
Yeah, I'm hearing. I'm listening.
Yeah, but we're listening. We're listening,
He
Mama.
could have used that taser because there's lots of time people call just to get help. They call the ambulance to get help. Okay? But if you're not trained to do certain things, it's gonna escalate to something else different. So with that police shooting, we lost so many mentally disturbed, individual family member lost. This is not the first one, at least. Thank God this one survived. There are like 2 or 3 of them that die. I think one in the Bronx, and I think one in Brooklyn, and another one in Queens.
Okay.
So, like the mayor said, we really have to see, how to go about this thing. Because you call to get help, mental help for them, and then they end up dying in your arms. It's unfair. So who should you call?
The therapist.
Who should you call for help? Because the police are not trained to deal with mental health. They're trained to deal with criminals when their life are threatened. So now somebody coming towards their mental health, they could use that taser. I think the taser is strong enough to use. You have 2 officers and none of the 2 of them can use both taser on this man. Come on.
They too trigger happy.
Listen. I'm not saying, your statement, I'm not you say your statement is right or wrong. Everybody's entitled to their statement. But you also got to understand the situation. You are in a situation, you got to think quick. You have to think quick. And I'm not saying all officers are bad, but you have to think quick. An officer came into someone else who was called, they invited him in, and he came up in a situation where It's a life situation in danger. You in danger. You are in danger of your life. Don't forget, the officer have family too. Maybe a wife. I don't know. We don't know. I'm just saying. What would you do?
I
So,
think that before cops can even get out in the field, because if we look at what they're doing with these ICE agents, they have no legal intelligence. They don't know the law. They don't know what they can and can't do. They do like a little 6-week training, maybe 2 months, and then they're thrown out into the field. But I really do think that they need to be trained, like how they train medical professionals. I'm also a medical professional, how to deal with certain things, have bedside manners. And we have to do our trainings for a very, very long time. I think that we have to do that with them too if we want to see some sort of change, different ways that we
And
could
you also
react.
continue.
Yeah, different ways we could react when faced with certain situations, whether that be a mental health situation, a life or death situation, to where people don't end up losing their life because it's becoming like, it's always been a thing that impacted our community specifically, but like now we're seeing it happen to like everybody. And so like it comes to a point where we have to go back to the system. It has to start where the training starts. We have to, I say we have to make them understand the law. We have to make them take a course on psychology and how to diffuse situations, just like how they have a defensive driving course, right? We need to have that for the police as well.
but guess what they don't have? Guess what they don't have?
What? Spill it.
You're gonna tell your time.
No.
What?
Decisions. When you have to make a decision on a spot, you're not trained for that. You are not trained for that. It's a call that you have to make because you feel
But
your
the
life
officers
is
there, they
in
could
danger. Listen, at this point, it will have nothing to do with cop. It's an individual coming at you. Don't respect the law because he's mental. What would you do? You're gonna call a therapist? You're gonna call a mental health counselor to put them in a life-threatening, dangerous position?
That was, but I'm not sure when the knife got pulled out, but I heard it
Be
briefly
careful
in the
with be
news.
careful saying words on TikTok.
Oh, I'm
But
so sorry. I'm not sure when that got pulled out.
he let me tell you, I saw the video. And sorry, Mr. Fit, but I saw the video.
I saw it too.
He came out of the kitchen, he grabbed it, bypassed the mother, coming towards the officers.
The mom or somebody was with him.
Whoever it was, he bypassed the person with the weapon in his hand, coming.
Well, it's obvious that the police was the trigger to him because
No. He was triggered. They called because he was acting violently. That's why they called.
yeah, person.
Hold on, I had muted it. Say it again.
He bypassed the person, so and go towards the officer. So meaning now, when you have a situation where there's somebody's triggered by another person, then the person get away. You move that person away.
Okay. Listen, I work in mental health field as well. Trust me. When he's at his peak now, there is no talking. There is no this else.
In the red zone.
He's at the peak. There is nothing you could do. You have a choice to a decision. There is no talking when the individual at his peak. There is no talking. You know that because he passed the trigger point. He's triggered. He's at the point where he's causing harm and intent to do harm.
I feel like in a life and death situation where, because I'm a manager, I'm in management, and I also work in healthcare. I have to make those tough decisions every day when I'm thrown a curveball throughout. And I know a life and death situation is not really like a life and death, but I run businesses and sometimes I got to make tough calls and don't really know which way it's going to go, but you just got to trust your judgment like in the moment. But in a situation like that, I believe like it's fight or flight. And I feel like, fight or flight, you're just going to react how you do when the situation presents itself. I do think that training still needs to happen so that I guess it could be a part of their muscle memory and they could at least have some of that to where when they do enter fight or flight mode, it's a little bit more beneficial.
Let me ask you a question.
We got to get back to the topic at some point.
I know, I
Yeah,
know.
my bad, my bad.
Let me ask you a question. If you are in a situation where you feel your life in danger, what are you going to do?
Leave.
Himself.
No, come on. If you feel your life is in danger, you in a spot where it's you or him, what you going to do?
Sorry. I was about to get real candid. He gotta go. It's me,
Oh,
baby.
okay, so put yourself in the officer position. You know, you got to think of him as a human being too. Don't think because you have a weapon and a badge, yes, he's a law, but he's also a human. You got to look at it from outside the box. Because we work in healthcare, we know healthcare is health. You know, it's mental health is a very tough subject, but you have to also be realistic. What would you do? There's no time. You have to make and it's quick, even faster than that, and that's what he did. Unfortunately, I didn't want to go that way, but what are you gonna do? I land.
Can't do nothing, man. You just gotta do what you gotta do.
All right. Hello, Lena. Welcome back.
Hey, brother. Thank you for inviting me back. And thank you for having me on your panel.
No problem, Lena. I think this is a perfect topic right up your alley. The question is, what does it mean to be equally yoked? Go.
Um, from my own words, I believe that being equally yoked means that you are aligned spiritually, mentally, emotionally, physically, right? I feel like you're aligned in those areas. I feel like being equally yoked means that um, you are in alignment with someone, essentially, through. And I think that God can connect us to people who we are definitely equally yoked with, whether it's friendships, relationships, um, even certain family members. Like, I know people who have first cousins, but they're like, this is this ain't even my cousin, this is my sister, because, we just so aligned. So yeah, that's what I think, what it means to be equally yoked, essentially.
Hey, Lena. And then this is the second part. Talk about what could happen in a, romantic relationship, marriage, or even a friendship, since you mentioned the friendship as well, because yes, it does matter there as well. When you're not equally yoked, as the scripture says.
Um, well, let's look at Solomon and his wives, right? They did not share the same faith, right? The wisest man, who had all those wives and concubines that he was not equally yoked with, ended up causing him.
Hey, Lena, come back. You went. It took you out.
I'm sorry, did you hear me?
It's okay. Yeah, repeat what you said about Solomon's wives. Go ahead.
Okay, so Solomon's wives, he was so lustful that no matter how many women he receives, none of them could be enough for him, right? He had no control over his lust, to the point where he ended up worshiping the gods of these women. And essentially, he fell from his reign as king because of his lustful desires leading him astray, right? Even when we think about who do I want to use? Let's use Jezebel, right? Let's see Jezebel, right? And how she was manipulating and controlling, right? she was deceiving, right? And how she did her husband, right? Because she was married to the king. I mean, let me think. Who else do I want to use? I usually don't like to use public figures.
You can use any example you want.
But you know what? And here's the reason why I say I don't like to use public figures, because I don't know what goes on behind their home. You know, I only know what
Facts.
the folks tell us, right?
Yeah.
But even in certain relationships, like I hear, my biggest thing is that faith aligns people, regardless of what people want to believe. If you and your partner does not share the same faith, it will lead you astray. All right, I'm not going to use a public figure. Actually, I'm going to use someone who I used to know, right? And this is also going to go toward, I'm going to start off with the relationship that this person had, and I'm going to lead into the friendship that I once had with this person, right? This person was what those of us who follow Christ, we would consider them as being in the world, right? Although this person grew up with a Muslim background, just kind of, here and there, she found a guy. This guy was heavy in the Muslim faith. I mean, praying, kneeling, fasting during the fasting period. I forgot what they call it in the Muslim faith. But yeah, he was heavy into it, right? He was even learning Arabic, learning how to read the Quran in Arabic and things like that. So when she met him, she wasn't like this. This girl actually worked in the club, right? She worked in the club. That's who she was. She danced for her money. And when she met him, she just liked him so much. She like, I'm gonna become whatever it is that you want me to be. He wanted her to be a good, modest Muslim woman. So essentially, she stopped working at the club. She got her work from home job, right? She started wearing the modest attire, the head coverings, the long dresses, right? She started going to the mosque. She even started having her kids do the stuff, right? Meanwhile, this man started introducing her to polygamy, right? With the woman first off, he started off by introducing her to the woman he was sleeping with behind her back, right? And that's how she kind of got into it. It was something that she didn't even desire, but because she wanted this man so bad, she was just willing to go along with it, right? This man was in and out of prison. She held him down. Essentially, she was just being disrespected in her home. But the whole time she was putting on this persona as this Muslim woman. Now I'm trying to get my life right. Well, you know what happened when her and this man broke up? She continued to go to the mosque probably like a good 2 months. After that whole act it stopped. She started back working in the club, right? She still was flying out to different states and doing a whole bunch of other stuff, right? So this person essentially made her life hell, right? To be honest, he was living a false life in the religion, and she was just following it simply because she wanted his approval. She wanted to be with him. It was never that he was rooted in his faith and she was rooted in the faith, right? They both were not rooted, but essentially he caused her so much stress, so much pain, and things of that sort. Now, let me tell you about the friendship, right? When I was in the world, I'm practically boring, right? But certain aspects changed about me, right? But me and this girl, we really kind of trauma bonded, I guess you can say, right? We had similar experiences with our children's fathers, things like that. We worked together at a job too. We had ended up working together at a call center. But essentially we ended up trauma bonding. But it was kind of like I saw her heart, I saw her intentions and what she really wanted to be. But it was just her lifestyle was just keeping her from really reaching her full potential. And, I was just like, you know what? I don't think you should be posting this stuff on social media. She was like, oh, there's nothing wrong with what I post on social media. I'm just like, yeah, as a woman, I just wouldn't post that on social media, right? then it just came to certain things in the relationship. I'm like, hey, if I was you, I would slow down, right? She's meeting different guys. Like I said, she was a dancer. She worked in the club. So a lot of guys are initially throwing money her way, right? So she's falling for the okie doke because of the money that's being thrown her way. So I'm like, yeah, I don't think that he's really serious. Oh, see, you don't understand because you don't be in this lifestyle. You don't really understand it. I think he's serious. And then come to find out the guy wasn't serious. He really just wanted to sleep with her, things like that. And then I would always try to give her advice like, hey, I think you just really need to take some time out, focus on yourself, do things like that. Just focus on your children, blah, blah, blah. That was the type of mom I was. I'm the type of mom, I get straight off work. I go straight to the park with my child, right? While she had other priorities, right? Where she like, okay, as soon as she get off work, she's getting dressed because she got to go work at the club tonight. And I'm like trying to explain to her and tell her like, and I realized we were two completely different people. Even outside of my faith, when I wasn't walking with Christ, we were two completely different people. But then once I came to my faith, I started getting convicted. I'm like, she wanted me to share her music, right? Because she was doing rap music. I'm like, this is very explicit. I don't feel comfortable sharing this on my social medias, right? It's not something that I would even post. Even if it wasn't you, I wouldn't post it. Even if it was Sexy Red or Cardi B speaking it, I wouldn't post it on my page, right? And I didn't even listen to them. Those are people I didn't even listen to, even when I was in the world. So I'm like, nah, I can't do that, right? So then it was always a thing where we just did not agree, whether it was with the way we went about dating, the way we went about parenting. We did not agree on anything, but we just loved to sit on the phone and gossip. We would have good conversations. We would talk about celebrities. That was really the thing about it. And other than that, and it was our trauma bonding, right? We came from very dysfunctional families. So other than that, that's what it was. And I realized I don't think I can grow in this friendship, right? Because if I say something to her and I'm like, hey, let's start focusing on this together, it's going to be an issue. When you got a friend where you can't be honest with your friend, you can't bring things to their attention without them getting offended, without them feeling like you hating on them because of this, and that, that's not an equally yoked friendship. Especially now that I'm believing in a different faith than you, right? Or she was Muslim and I'm talking about my God and she talking about her God. We are not in alignment at all. We weren't in alignment before, but now that I actually know who I am in Christ, we definitely not aligned. And for me to, people feel like, oh, you could be friends with different people if they're in a different faith. You just have to respect other people's religion. How can I respect your religion when your religion tells you that your God is the one true God and anything that says anything outside of that is not true? And my God tells me that he's the one true God, and anybody that says anything outside of it is not true. I can be an acquaintance. I can have a conversation with you, but that's about all. And it's same with the relationship. If you're not equally yoked, if you guys are not aligned within your faith, it's always going to be an issue. Because you want to go to church. You want to pray, right? You're not worried about trying to lay up and have smacks with nobody because you fasted and you consecrating. And now you got a partner who don't understand, right? When you say you can't listen to this music because this music is too demonic and your partner like, oh, you just over spiritualizing everything. It's not going to work. I literally know people who have two different faiths. I know a man who's a 7-day Adventist and his wife is Catholic. But she's like, oh, I don't know what I want to believe in. I don't really know. So he teaches his kids, we don't celebrate holidays. We don't celebrate man-made holidays. We don't do these holidays. That's what he teaches his kids. He don't even like to celebrate birthdays. He don't like to celebrate Valentine's Day. So when Valentine's Day come around, she gets sad because she never gets any gifts. When Christmas comes, he said, we not putting up a tree, right? That's what he tells his wife. But then she's sad because she like, you know what? I love Christmas. I love to put up Christmas trees. And he like, we not having that. But then if he goes to work or he's not around, she lets her kids do things that she know he wouldn't approve of. For example, like Halloween. He said, my kid's not celebrating Halloween. He had to go to work because he worked 2 jobs. She took her kids trick-or-treating. This is what being unequally yoked means. It's always going to be dysfunction. And then when we see these marriages at the divorce rates that they are, right? 1 in every 2 marriages end in divorce. We wonder why. You didn't even have a conversation with that man. I know y'all saw the video with Evan Lozada and her daughter, where her daughter said she didn't even know that the game was a felon. How you have a whole baby with a man and you didn't even know that he was a felon? Come on now. So we just out here procreating with people and marrying people that we don't even know. You gotta vet. We gotta start vetting properly and taking our vetting process seriously. And more importantly, start being comfortable being single. And when I say being comfortable being single, it's a lot of people that say they're comfortable with being single. I don't need nobody.
Can you hear me?
Go ahead, Beyond. Go ahead.
Yeah. I had a question for you guys. Actually, you guys have been pretty nice to me and whatnot, and really grateful to have the opportunity to come out here and share my thoughts. That's the amazing thing about TikTok. We're in like a podcast era type thing where everyone can share their own thoughts and opinions. Like, I want to hear your opinion. So, like, how do y'all go about, when you're looking for a woman or whatever? How do y'all? Are you guys like cool? Like, you know what? They don't gotta be believers, but they have to be open to it. Or like, are you guys like, no believers, no dating? How do you guys go about finding the proper female to vet into your life?
Wow, that's a good question, man. Listen, I wasn't looking for that. But the thing, you see, when I met my wife, right? You know when God is in the mix because everything always line up. You don't have to do nothing because God already lined everything up. You just have to be there. And when I met my wife, I didn't know she worked down the block for me. We both work on Fifth Avenue. I didn't know she worked up the block for me. I did not know. I didn't know I knew she lived on Staten Island. I didn't know we should take the same boat. Then one day, we used to see each other, smile, and keep moving. And I used to go out my way just to see her there for that smile and keep it moving. You know what I'm saying? So then one day, I said, you want to go to lunch? I didn't know where she worked. I did not know that she worked in Manhattan, 2 blocks down from where I work on Fifth Avenue. I didn't know that. Then I said, where you getting her? She said, she's going to work. I said, where you going? I said, where you work at? I said, what? I said, oh my God. Then we went to lunch. Then after that, things just start hitting off. We had a lot of things in common, believe it or not. We have a lot of things in common. That's what I'm saying. When God has somebody for you, man, you don't have to do nothing. You don't have to try. You don't have to do nothing. You just have to be in alignment with God. That's it. Because God knows that you need He knows. You might not be saying it, you might not tell him, but he knows that you need a companion. Man should never be alone. Man not created to be by himself. You need a mate. You need a partner in life. You can't be, that make you complete.
I agree with that.
A man and a woman are equally yoked when it comes to God, because he made a man for the woman and a woman for the man. Vice versa, how you look at it, you know what I'm saying? So they're equally yoked, but it's their action, their attitude, what they do make them all equally yoked. We are compatible. The both of the equipment fit each other perfectly. You understand what I'm saying? God don't make mistakes. So when people say God don't make no mistake, it's we with our thinking corrupt God's way of thinking. So, when you want to get married, man, God have the person for you, but sometimes you have to put yourself in, you have to, like they said, man, you have to cast your net. If you know you fishing over here and these fish over here bad, you're not going to get no good wife over here. That's the same thing with another example with Samson. Look what Samson did. His parents warned him, do not go down to the Gaza Strip, man. Don't go down there, because those people, it's not saying you don't like them, but they are, we call it, what's the word I'm looking for? Their tradition, how they do things, don't mix with those people, because they did not serve the true and living God. So when you put yourself in a situation, and look what happened to Samson. He was warned. You could have a good wife. You have a lot of women over here you could choose from, but don't go down there. And sometimes, we don't listen to God and we go down there, go over there. We go to the Gaza Strip, the West Bank, and it's not for us. They have different tradition, different lifestyle, how they look. Not saying you can't marry somebody of your lifestyle that you both share a lot of things in common. Yes, but what I'm saying is, when you are deliberately going outside of your character and morals, that everybody know that, and decide to make that sacrifice, God, that you're not equally yoked. You're not equally yoked. You're going to cause problems. You're going to cause headaches, and just like Zoe King talking about in the chat, talking about multiply and leave them. What kind of thinking is that? Multiply and leave them. He's saying get the woman pregnant and leave them. Yeah, see? Men give other men bad names. Women give other women bad names. You have good women out there, very good women out, but they're hard to find. Good men, very hard to find. Why? Because they're not out there like that. They're thinking the same way we're thinking. There's no good people out there. But they are. They are. That's how I met my wife, man. I understand if I explain everything to you, Beyond, but that's how I met my wife, man.
I'm actually I'm thinking about Friday hosting a TikTok live, speed dating live. I'm just doing a test trial to see how it goes. Where we have like 7 men come up on the panel.
What time Friday?
It'll be around, I'm thinking about starting around 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
You in Queens, right?
I'm sorry?
You in Queens?
No, Indiana.
Oh, with Angie. Angie in Queens.
I'm sorry?
No, it's Angie. The other
Oh, you're talking to somebody else in the comments.
Yeah, no, Angie was on the panel before. She's from Queens, I think. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so I'm thinking about that's what I'm really thinking about doing, is just having a Christian speed dating live. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna have 7 men on the panel. They will have to have their cameras on. You have to have your camera on. You have to give us your name. You don't have to necessarily give us your last name, your first and last name, but if you could just at least give us your first name, your age, and where you're from. That's it. And then we'll have one lady request up at a time. Now, the one lady that comes up, she will say, out of the 7 men, which one would you like to get to know? Like, which one caught your interest? And then she has 2 minutes to where she can ask that man any questions, right? What do you do for a living? Do you want more kids? What's your faith? What denomination do you go by? Whatever question she wants to ask him, she has 2 minutes to ask him. If you like her and she likes you, you guys can match. And you also are able to ask her questions too, but you only have 2 minutes to do that and you guys can match. Now, the only thing that I'm kind of worried about, one, counterfeits. I'm worried about the counterfeits or the woofing.
You have to weed them out.
But for that, here's what I want to do. I go live throughout the week. On Monday through Friday, I'm usually live at 8:30 a.m. I know yesterday I was on live for about 9 hours, possibly. So I usually do live conversations where we do talk about, as people in the faith, how we properly vet one another, right? If you have the desire to be with someone, what questions should you be asking, right? Because a lot of people, I think, they always say, oh, they put on a mask. They didn't seem like I thought that they were this good Christian woman, but all of a sudden she just turned around. I think you have to ask the proper questions, because the Holy Spirit will definitely reveal to you that person's intentions. And then I have a marriage counselor, and I have four people, which is two couples. They met on TikTok and they've been married. One couple met on TikTok and are now celebrating almost 9 years of marriage. The other couple are now going on. They've been married. I want to say for the last few months they've been married. Then I have another couple that's celebrating actually probably I think like 2 to 3 years of marriage. They met on TikTok. All was three couples actually. It's three couples, six people. They met on TikTok. They're now all three couples are now married. The marriage counselor, I have my guy Big Rob. He's a marriage counselor and a couples counseling, and he does his counseling with the Word of God included into it. And he's a pastor as well. He has his own church. So throughout the week, we'll be hosting these lives of, for one, what makes you think you're ready to be a husband? What makes you think you're ready to be a wife? So we'll be having those conversations, right? I think that it's important if we are single, we should already be praying for our future husband and spouses, right? We don't wait till we get one and then start praying for them. I pray for my future husband all the time, right? And then we're gonna have, like I said, we're gonna have conversations about how to vet, right? As abstinent people who practice abstinent, how to still keep those boundaries while dating, right? When is it time to introduce someone to your family? When is it time to kind of start really meshing together and blending families and things of that sort, introducing children for people who have children. So we'll be touching on a lot of things throughout the week that people can tune into. That way, Friday and Saturday, when I do the speed dating panels, people can feel like they're prepared to answer questions, but also, have an idea for people who don't know already, I would say. So that's what I'll be doing this Friday. I'll be doing a test trial just to see how it goes. I think that for one thing, I always want people to lean on the Holy Spirit.
I'll be in the chat watching.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people may start in the chat. I don't think I got a feeling that not a lot of people are going to come up on the panel, especially with cameras on.
I'm a married man, but I'll be in there watching, listening.
Yeah, and again, when I host my lives and we're talking about marriage, you can definitely come in there and tell your story, how you met your wife, what some things you noticed about your wife, And the one question I love to ask men is, when did you know that your wife was your wife? That's one of my favorite questions to ask, because to me, I feel like courtship shouldn't really last longer than a year. That's just my personal opinion. I don't need to be with somebody
Listen,
3, 4, 5 years.
Marriage is a work, man. You got to put in work. It's just like you go to work. You get compensated. You get a paycheck, right? A week or monthly, bi-weekly, you get a paycheck. You put in work. And marriage, when you put in work, is benefiting the marriage. That's you paying the marriage. That's all. You not say you're looking at it like that, but it is. You're putting in work. So the work you put in, you're gonna enjoy it. Over the years, you enjoy it. And you're gonna say, I would never get my husband for nothing. I heard a lot of women say that. I heard a lot of men say, man, I would never get my wife up for nothing. You crazy? Nah, man, nah. What? I met my wife, my whole life changed. And I can admit that. My whole life changed. Because my wife opened me up to a lot of different things. To a different, look at the world differently. You know what I mean? Like, Her friends are different. You know what I mean? That put in a different group of people to know her friends and vice versa. So you get to learn each other's friends. And it's a beautiful thing, man. But at the end of the day, it's about both of your guys' journey.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not going to be a easy journey. It's not going to be cream all the time. It's not going to be good times. It's going to be some rough bristle, rough road. You know what I mean? Some bumpy roads. But guess what? It's not for long. Because not every road is bumpy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Not every road is bumpy. You're going to have some very smooth road, man. You're going to remember, and in marriage, I believe you should remember the good more than the bad times. When you start focusing most on the bad times, you're setting yourself up. You're setting yourself up because you're going to say there's nothing, because you're looking at the negative, but you have to look at the positive, man. Even when you have argument, you have to be still positive. In case, I hate you, I this and that, all that. No. Don't say those things. And that's where God comes in. That's where God come in. God, if you know you have an issue, you have an issue in your marriage, and you know it's you and you're working on it. Good, you take it to God, but at the same time, you got to put in some work too. You got to put in that work. You got to have that communication. You got to put in that work.
Hi.
You got to build that trust. You got to, you got to put in. You got to put in that work. That work. You got to put in the work, man. You got to put in that work. Just like Christ put in that work. Christ came in, put in that work for us, right? So we got to put in that work. We have all the tools. We just have to utilize it and use it.
Hey, my friend is here. My new friend is here. Hey, Mila, lovely Mila, how you doing?
Hello, I'm fine.
Thank you. Thanks for coming back. You always welcome here. Hey, join the
Yeah,
conversation with us.
I just
Yeah,
left
go ahead,
another
Mila.
live.
Oh, it's
Someone
all
else had
good.
this. Someone else had the same question, and I guess what I said startled him.
Welcome
I don't
back.
know.
Welcome back. Welcome back.
Welcome back. All right. Hey, what does it mean to be equally yoked? Go ahead, Mila.
Um, to be equally yoked, I would say is a partnership. Um, is usually where both individuals share the same fundamental faith and values. You hear me?
Yeah, we're here. We're listening.
Okay. I would say it's a partnership, and it's usually a marriage where individuals share the same foundational values.
Hey, Mila, I asked everyone this question. I think I may have not asked the Beyond, and I apologize. What do you think could happen when you're not, talk about the things that could happen and go wrong when you're not equally yoked with someone?
It can be a heavy, it can be a really heavy and horrible downfall of it because you can, you know, I don't want to word it wrong, and I don't know if I'm saying it right because I do tend to say things wrong. Someone can take what you're doing the wrong way, and they are not very accepting of what you're putting into the relationship or friendship, whatever you want to call it at the moment.
Nah, that's true. Hey, Beyond, I don't know how. I know I asked you what it is, but I don't think I asked you, hey, what you think could go wrong when you're not unequally yoked. Go ahead, Beyond.
Didn't, but that's fine. What's funny, I can actually ask the same question. But I don't know. I guess there's more than one way where we can see where that's a thing. If we were unequally yoked, I can give an example. I guess, like, there's a reason why God put parameters for us to follow. Because if we don't follow those rules and those parameters, a lot of things can happen. A lot of bad things happen. So like when He says, not to have sexual intercourse before marriage, between a man and a woman, right? So that's the parameter. When you got that parameter, you get a lot of sexual immoral things that happen in today's world. We can go down the laundry list of those things, right? So when you're talking about, unequally yoked, what it looks like, that could be a lot of things, divorce, single mother, single father. I mean, that can even affect the children, raising kids in, unstable households or, son, daughters going to jail. A lot of things can stem from, a woman and man being unequally yoked. There's a lot of things that can happen, abuse, all kinds of things, even if, like, they look perfect on the outside, but on the outside they're dead. Just because they look like they're doing okay doesn't mean they necessarily are. So it all has to, has to be mental, it has to be emotional, it has to be spiritual. Probably the most important thing. And the other things follow. So as long as you're in alignment with those things with your partner, you should be fine in the long run as long as you're not allowing the enemy to, get under your skin Or alhamdulillah.
Yeah, earlier I used the and Lena, if you're still there, earlier I used the iceberg theory because I was talking to um a woman earlier who came on the panel. Her name is Shan, and she talked about the money. She had she always, no matter what, she kept, and no disrespect to her when I say this, but she always came back to the money, the money, the money. You know, and I tried to tell her. I said, look, the money, uh, the aesthetics, the money, the height, the looks, that's surface level. But if you want to get married, you want to get beneath the surface. And I said the thing about an iceberg, a glacier, and I mentioned the Titanic, is that you see what's above the water. Metaphorically, that would be the money, that would be the material things, right? That person has, right? But beneath the surface could be someone of low moral character, no integrity, no intelligence. I mean, just many things that could kill a relationship. Unalive a relate. Well, I don't know that TikTok word, but whatever, that could destroy a relationship, right? And the thing is that the iceberg under the water is bigger than what you see floating up top. You know, and when the Titanic finally saw this glacier, it was too late, and they said, "Oh, we'll just go around it." They hit it, boom. Because they're not thinking about what's beneath the surface.
Exactly. One thing
Yeah,
I
that's
always
true.
say, brother,
You know,
I always say you gotta, one of my terms I use, you gotta start undressing people before you start undressing them. You know what I'm saying? People
Agree.
always love to say, oh, people, they put on a mask, they love bomb me, I was emotionally manipulated. If you can sit here and I ask you, I say, what is a bad man? What is the type of man that you would not consider dating, right? If I was to ask you that and I say, well, what is a bad man? What's the type of man you wouldn't consider dating? You could tell me everything that's bad about a man. And if I ask a man the same thing, what's the type of woman that you would not consider marrying? He could name off a list of things and tell me everything that a woman who's not worth marrying. But then I get out and now it's time for you to actually use that. And now all of a sudden you can't tell it apart. You just told me what a bad woman was. You just told me what a bad man was. And now all of a sudden it came to you and you couldn't discern what that was. That lets me know a lot about you. It lets me know that your discernment is not at a level where you can properly choose. So stay single. Stop being on the prowl. Stop hunting and just stay single until you have identified exactly who you are and exactly what you want. Because when I realized who I am, why would I put up with that? Why would I allow that? My God shows me favor. My God shows me love. My God heals me. My God brings me peace. And you think I'm gonna let you in my life and disrupt all that? Absolutely not. Right? So in order to get to know someone, you have to start undressing them. How do you start undressing them? Ask them questions about what makes you you. I want to know about your faith. I want to know about the standards you have. I want to know about the morals you have. I want to know about the things that you value. That's
Excuse
what
me.
makes you you.
So I'm sorry. Anybody can tell you what makes them them and still
Hmm.
lie about it. So you have to be careful
How do you know if they're
of
lying?
asking that question. But you only know once you enter the relationship.
That's why
That's
you
why I'm
don't get
saying
into a relationship if you don't really know who they are.
you have to be careful and mindful of the questions you ask because they can lie to you and enter a relationship with you if you allow them to. And they can still mess up your whole world. They can turn things around. And then it'll be hard for you to leave because it'll be a soft spot for them.
I strongly disagree with that. As someone who has chosen wrong before in the past, I look back and almost everybody who's been in a relationship where they said, you know what, this person wasn't who they said they was. Anybody who's ever been in a relationship like that, oh, it just didn't work out. I really realized A lot of people go back and say, I ignored red flags. After the relationship is over, they say, I ignored red flags. Why did you ignore red flags? Because you tried to believe something that was not true. That person showed you who they were, and you said, no, maybe they can change. Well, maybe this is just a moment, you know. That man showed you his anger. You know, he was just frustrated. He was just mad. No, that ain't really how he is, because he was just so nice to me in the beginning. He was such a good man in the beginning. No, any fool can put on the mask for a certain amount of time, especially when women say, "Oh, I got a 90-day rule. I got a 90-day rule." Listen, if the roles were flipped and I was a man and you gave me a 90-day rule, you had a 90-day rule, I promise you, call me Angela Bassett. I'm putting up a role if all it takes is 90 days. If I'm an undisciplined man, a man with no morals, a man with no values, and you tell me all I have is 90, what? Call me Lawrence Fishburne. At this point, I'm acting my butt off to get what I want.
But that's what I'm saying. It can be an act in the beginning. That's exactly what I'm saying. They can say, "Oh, I'm this kind of person. I'm this kind of person," and they can show you that person all until you are with that person.
So
It can be. It don't have to be within the 90 days. It don't have to be within a year. It can be 2 years in, and everything changed within a blink of an eye. That's what I'm saying. I'm not saying this for everybody. I'm not saying that has happened to everybody. I'm saying, what if that was the case?
yeah, I don't think people change. I think people try to put on a persona or mask who they are, and people don't take the mask off to really see who they are. Like, you don't wait a certain amount of time. Like, for me, I don't consider myself to date.
Okay.
I'm vetting you. That's my whole purpose of being here. I want a husband. I'm vetting you. Forget your astrology time. I don't want to know if you're asparagus or a Capri Sun. I'm here to know you, right?
Right.
I'm here to know who you are, right? I could
Right.
tell through the conversation. I've talked to guys for literally 2 to 3 days just through text message, and I know exactly you're not the one for me. You're not the one for me. Immediately blocked. I don't have to continue on talking to you, hoping that this conversation will change. No, for one, I'm a woman of God. I now know how to lean on the Holy Spirit. The Holy Spirit will tell me, this ain't it. But also, I pay attention to conversation. I pay attention to what things you speak about. I pay attention to your routines. If I ask you what happened in your last relationship, oh, she just didn't want me to do this. She wouldn't let me leave. She couldn't trust in me. She acted like she couldn't let me leave. What does that say about you? If you're such this good man with these good leadership skills and all this other stuff, and a woman couldn't trust in your leadership, why do you think that was? See, it's always a story behind it. It's always something going on behind it. I don't ever believe that people just change or if they wait down the line. No, I believe that we just step over red flags, or we try to turn red flags into yellow flags or red flags into green flags. And then when we really get down the line, oh yeah, them flags was red. You're right. It wasn't just an orange flag or a yellow flag. It was indeed a red flag. Yeah, now you waited till you actually gave your body to somebody. You waited till you got into a relationship, till you started mixing finances, and now y'all got a whole living situation together. And that's why, as a woman of God, ain't no fornicating. You want my body, you gotta marry me. You want to live together? Put a ring on it. You want a child? Put a ring on it. It's boundaries over here.
Yeah. Yeah. I get it. I understand. I went through the same thing. I've been married for 14 years. So yeah, I understand. You definitely have great points. I get it. Everything that you're saying is very understandable. And anybody that disagree with it, just they don't get life.
Yeah, that's real because Lena is talking about their boundaries and rules and principles that you have to have in place before the vetting process, that you already have, your non-negotiables ready. You understand that you're not going to compromise for. And these are forgotten things, or just not talked about as much as they should be when going into that world of seeking a husband. I'm sorry, seeking a wife, as a woman, being in a position to be ready to be found by a husband. You know what I'm saying? And those are very important And you know what happens to most people, even believers too, because this is why we got to break that. We can have restless times in our singlehood and get to the point where we're like, you know what, tired of being by myself. You know what I'm saying? Not talking to anyone specifically on the panel, but it happens in life.
Right.
And
It's like
then
a
that,
general.
right. And then that's where the mistakers make is then now you start compromising and letting go of some of them rules and parameters and principles you had just to feel something. And that can end up in a disaster, you know?
Yeah, I agree. But that's why I said in the beginning, like, okay, and I'm gonna use myself as an example. I didn't think of myself before I became a wife. I didn't think of myself as a wife because I was never taught that. So then when I start hanging around, the older crowd, and I'm seeing that they happy and married and their husbands do this and their husbands do that and the wife don't have to do this and the wife don't have, I'm like, this is happy for y'all. This is what y'all call happy. Like, I didn't understand it at first, but now I get it.
Right. Hey, Mr. Yard Chat, you there? Mr. Yard. Okay, he must be busy. Hey,
You can hear
Princess.
me?
Yeah, we can hear you now. Hey, anything you want to say? The ladies have, gave some interesting
Yeah, man.
perspectives. Go ahead.
I've been listening, man, and very good point. Very good point of view. That's real talk right there. You know what I mean? And it's rough out there. It's rough out there. I know a lot of people want to get married. You got to check the vibes, who you're marrying to. You got to check their family as well. You got to do a whole. It's like you got to do a whole background, and that's how it's supposed to. Check this out. That's how it's supposed. That's how it used to be in the old days, bro. Biblical. You have to see the whole family. You have to see the whole family who you married into. You know what I'm saying? You have to see the whole family before you marry. But now these days, some people don't. The father don't go to the wedding. The mother don't. Because of some issues and other problems. No one want to talk about it to resolve it. Past traumas. People scared to get married now because of people baggage, man. People not being
Mm-hmm.
truthful. People not being truthful, man. So you take that baggage, and it's not good to dump all that baggage on someone. Trust me, it's not good.
Yard. You
Yeah.
know I host live panels and things like that. I can hear the hurt on people just based off their perspective, especially when it comes to relationships and marriage. I can hear the hurt of some people.
Yeah.
And then you try to sit here and tell me you're healed. When I speak on what I did, I speak from a place of accountability because it wasn't just all them. It wasn't just all their fault. I got into a situation when I didn't know who I was. Parts of me were broken. I didn't have a relationship with God. How can I ever just put all the blame on one person? How can I always just take this one relationship that did not work out? How can I take this one relationship did not work out and then put it on all men? And tell another man, now I gotta tell another man, because of what he did to me, you now have to pay. Now I'ma withhold parts of me from you because of what he did. I can't get close to you because of what he did. I can't trust you because of what he did. Stop fooling with people then if you're thinking like that. If that's the way you're gonna be, stay single. You hardening your heart, I can't allow people to get close. Especially, y'all know I'm a single mom. I can't stand when single moms be like, oh, well, if I do find another man, I don't want him disciplining my kids. I don't want him doing. You said you wanted a man that's a leader. You said you wanted a man to be a provider. You said you wanted a man to come in and run the house, so you ain't got to do it by yourself. What you mean you don't want him to discipline your kids? I would hope that when you have a conversation with this man and you guys are discussing parenting values, that you're aligned in your parenting values. So if you tell him I don't whip my kids, he should be like, all right, that's okay. I ain't got to physically hurt your kids, but we're gonna have some straightening up in here.
Agree.
We're going to get some straightening up in here. We're going to do some wall sits. We're going to write some essays.
Agree.
Right?
I agree.
We're going to do something. So when you say that, oh, I don't want a man that what discipline do you think? You feel like you can allow a man? I would never have a man come into my situation as a single mother and then say, well, you're not allowed to tell my daughter anything. I don't want you to say anything to her. I don't want you to discipline her. I don't want you to do that. Because now I'm not allowing you as a man to move in your full potential.
Yeah, I don't
How
agree
can
with
she
one
see you as a
thing.
leader? How can she see you as a leader? How can she see you as a man? And if I'm
Thank you, Cesar.
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I don't agree with that. I really don't, because a man should be able to lead. That's what he's there for. He should be able to tell you when he should be able to discipline the child as well, because he's the father figure in the relationship for the child.
Amen. Yeah.
Hey,
So
can I add to that? Can I add to that?
Go ahead, sir.
So
Oh, it's your
so
man.
it
Why
could,
you asking?
yeah. Well, I just wanted I didn't want to cut off Mila. You know, I didn't know if she landed her plane or not.
Oh, okay, okay.
Yeah. Okay. So this is a very complex point you guys are going to now. You ladies are going to now. So from the man's perspective, okay, um, that is a big thing, and it's not that stepfathers to be just have this hankering to discipline a kid. But I'm gonna tell you what happens though, because you have the biological father, and then you have the stepfather, right? Now, how does that situation mend in a way that is mature and safe? Because a lot of times it's not it won't even just be the woman, the mother, who's saying you can't discipline my child. It could be the actual biological father that will get in the way and say, hey, if you put a hand on my kid, I'm going to come and delete you. You know, it can get that extreme. You know,
and it has.
I'm talking
It
for the
has.
for the fathers that are, for the biological fathers who are still in the picture. Now, if a woman is widowed, that's different. You know,
Well, the child's
uh,
father is incarcerated. He doing
or
20 years.
right, or incarcerated. Sadly, right. And
Mm-hmm.
Princess is in the comments. She said, "I've been there." I don't know to what extent you're saying I've been there. Probably the point that I'm making. But Princess, if you ever get an opportunity, come up on a panel, and if you're able to share your story, not to get too detailed, you can. Okay, but you know, how does that situation go? You know, when you have the battle of the birth father and the stepfather. Y'all can speak to that. I'm just asking.
So with me and my husband has 3 kids, and we do have conversations as of, if you ever get tired, let me know. But I don't want a man disciplining my kids. He has told me that multiple times, and I feel as long as you're disciplining your kids and you're stepping in when I ask you to step in, or when I tell you that they're doing something wrong, he wouldn't have to discipline your kids. But if you're gonna high five them and tell them, "Oh yeah, you did right. Yeah, I appreciate that," going down a negative road with the child, then no, he's allowed, whoever I'm dating and we're in this together and he's the man of the house, he's going to be allowed to discipline my children.
My perspective on it is, whoever it is, first off, my daughter, I've been single for the last 4 years. She won't meet a soul, right? Until it is what it is, until that ring not to the ring on the finger, but probably a little bit before then, but until it's been solidified, she won't just meet anybody, right? But
Mhm.
before she meets anybody, I would like for my future husband and my child's father to be able to sit down together. I want you to know who's going to be around your child,
Yeah. It's
but
only right.
also to have the conversation. I'm gonna let you know like this: with me being married, he is the man of the house. At the end of the day, he gonna run his house the way he see fit, and understand. I've explained to him the parenting values that I hold and the parenting values that who you hold. Me and my child's father, we co-parent, but we're typically aligned when it comes to the parenting thing, right? My daughter's 7. She's not allowed to have a phone. We agree to that, right? She's not allowed to watch YouTube. She's not allowed to be on Roblox. Things like that. We discuss and we have where we are definitely aligned in. So if we can all come together as adults and have a great conversation and say, look, if she do something and now she's on punishment, that's just what it is. I mean, you may not like it, you may not understand it, but we can have a conversation and we can explain to you why your daughter's on punishment, why your daughter is not allowed to be watch TV or be on her tablet. I can let you know, hey, just FYI, if you try to video call her, she's not gonna pick up because her tablet was taken away. It's something as simple as that. We've even gotten to the point where I'm like, okay, she's even now. This is how we parent now. If she's at punishment at home with me on the weekend when she goes with her father, she's punishment with him too. That's the way he does things. Oh no, your mom said that you were on punishment, so it's gonna go over here too. You on punishment for 2 weeks. That don't mean the weekends you off punishment. That's how me and him do things, right?
Yeah,
And
I
that's
agree with
just,
that.
I mean, I know not everybody will have a situation like that, but again, I can't really speak for the future because again, like if I had that's the way I would like things to go, right? Now,
Yeah,
for
I
anybody
agree
in the
with that.
situation,
You're not saying nothing wrong.
yeah, but anybody in a situation where your child's father tells this man that he's going to unalive him, first off, you know what type of person that you're co-parenting with. At this point, if you dealing with a hostile co-parenting partner, that's when people say, "Oh, single mother shouldn't date." No, I think that type of situation, maybe you shouldn't, or unless you move away or something. I don't know because I feel like to ask somebody to sign up for that's not fair, right? You got a baby daddy that can't control himself. Everybody you get a relationship with, he's stalking your page. He's sending you hate messages. He doing all that. That's just not a safe environment for anybody to be in, and I wouldn't recommend that to anybody. So that's just me personally.
Hey, Lena, can I ask you a question?
Yes, sir.
Your child's father, did you want to at some point marry him?
Oh yeah, I thought I told you this.
I'm sorry.
No, you
I
good.
may
I
have
know. I
forgot.
thought we had.
Yeah.
I thought we had a conversation about this. I did. I wanted to marry him. We went to Walmart. I saw a ring for $48, and I said, "Let's get this ring, and we could go get married at the courthouse." He didn't. He didn't want to. He was like, "Oh, I think you deserve a ring that's like $5,000, $10,000." I'm like, I don't care about that. Like, we can get married now. And he made that excuse, and me being young and dumb, I accepted it. I'm like, oh, okay. Like, I really don't want to do it, but I'll wait. Whole time I'm waiting, 6 years later. I mean, not 6 years later, but spent a total of 6 years in that relationship. No ring.
Mm,
Left
yeah.
with a baby.
Yeah.
And that's crazy
How
because okay.
how's your approach? Oh, I'm sorry, Mila. Go ahead, Mila.
No, I was just gonna speak on the ring part. I was saying it's crazy because a woman usually never settles for a ring from Walmart. Okay, my very first ring did come from Walmart, and I still have it to this day. My ring has been upgraded multiple times. But I still always go back to my very first ring. But a lot of people, like I commend Lena, lovely Lena, for even accepting the fact that she would get a ring from Walmart, because a lot of people wouldn't even say that out loud.
Which
Man, I grew up in
Lena,
foster
Lena,
care. I
would
grew up in
would you
foster
accept that
care.
now?
Absolutely. Like, I grew up
Oh,
in foster care, sleeping on floors, right? I grew up sneaking in the kitchen at school, stealing food because I was so hungry. I'm not mature. I promise. I never owned a pair of Jordans in my life, right? I'm blessed to say at 30 years old, I have $0 of debt. I've never been a materialistic person in my life. I love thrift stores and Goodwill. I literally spent 4 hours in Goodwill the other day just looking through stuff. That's just me. I don't need to have a bunch of fancy things. I've never been that girl, and he knew that when he got with me. And that's why he liked me. Right? I ain't got no habits. I never in my life been drunk before. I probably used to sip a little wine and a little Seagram's, Jamaican me happy. But I'm only drinking like one or two. Never been drunk before. Never smoked anything before in my life. Never been to a club. I went to a bar once for the first time when I was 28, and that's because of a company outing. Never been that type of girl. So, you know what I'm saying? Like I said, I didn't really grow up with structure. I didn't have a lot. I just knew I wanted to be loved. I knew I wanted to be married. And unfortunately, I did things outside of God's order, which led me to be a long-term girlfriend and then eventually a baby mother. So when I realized I'm unequally yoked with this person, this is never going to end in marriage. And then I had to ask myself, do you really want to be tied to this person legally and binded in marriage? Absolutely not. Get out now while you're still young. You know what I'm saying? I had to look at people in my family who's pushing almost 70, who's been in a 30-year relationship with somebody, never married. I looked at that. I said, I don't want that to be me. I want an actual family. I want my daughter to see what it's like to have a man be a leader, not make excuses. That once my mindset started to evolve and change, look, I just started growing from there. I thank God. And I love my child's father still with the love of Christ. That's it. That's all.
I can get down with that. Hey, Beyonda, you could join the conversation.
Oh yeah, no, I'm just listening to you guys talk. I just want to speak on what Lena said. You see, that's the problem. I feel like a lot of women aren't like you because a lot of women don't take accountability or even they're not modest enough to say what you said. You know, so when it comes to the original question of unequally yoked, you know, obviously it takes two to tangle. You know, but at the end of the day, I feel like nowadays with our society and our culture, you know, it kind of like encourages women to like, you know, avoid accountability. You know what I mean? So when they're picking a partner that isn't really conducive for them and their future and their children, it never falls on them. It falls on the man because the man is, you know, the deadbeat or the man is the jerk or something like that. You know, I feel like that's where it starts. It starts with, you know, poor planning or poor judgment when picking your partner. And that goes for men too. Men, you know, men can fall into lust. I know I have in the past, you know. And men, you know, fall in what they see, women with what they hear, you know. So both parties, you know, both genders play the game. You know, in some females' game is they want to get the bag and the money and, you know, get the guy who has the money first. And the guy, you know, they want the, you know, sexual interaction. But then the ones that are genuine and, you know, have genuine fear of God and, you know, all that stuff, their game is marriage. You know, they want to get married and be equally yoked in faith and spirit and mind and soul. And that's where it starts. When you're talking about equally yoked, it starts with, you know, the intention of what you're going for. Because if my intention is to get married, but then her intention is to get the money out of me, then we're equally yoked. And if I'm not privy to her game, I'm not privy to what she wants, I'm gonna fall into a trap. And you know, with now I created a foundation that isn't even stable. You know that, so this has to be on the same page. If that makes any sense. I'll land there, I think.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that I think it's bigger than just when I think about money, here's what I think. Especially if you ever read a lot of finance articles, if you pay attention to the the articles. I have like a little email subscription that talks about finance and tech industry and things like that I read over every morning while I'm drinking my coffee. When you understand that the value of the dollar is literally at zero, when you look at the way that tech is advancing, when you look at the way that everything is advancing over to electronically, whether it's electronic banking, electronic money, especially for those who keep their money in banks and things like that, they can literally it's like they could literally wipe all that away. And it would be like, it means nothing. Our economy could literally fall and money would mean nothing, right? If you're not in a certain position, if you're not one of the elites, money, it just really wouldn't mean nothing. So it's like, why would that be my motive, right? But I get it, because there's people out there that's been like me, where I tell you, I struggled as a child growing up. I didn't have the best of the best. I didn't have the best hairstyles. I didn't have the best clothes and things like that, right? Where they grow up like that, and now they become so materialistic because it's like, I gotta have the best of the best, especially because now it's part of an image, right? I know people that go out and buy Louis Vuitton and Gucci, and they post their receipts. They'll go out and post their receipts. Why would I go somewhere and buy something and then post a receipt? Who am I trying to prove something to? You think I gotta prove something to somebody to post my receipts on social media? No, I ain't gotta post my bank account. Why I gotta show you my bank account? Why I gotta show you how much is in my Roth IRA? Why I gotta show you how much on my IUL policy? Who am I proving anything to? Money, it says, for the love of money is the root of all evil. The love of money. Money can't save you. Money, think about it. When you really think about some of the richest people in the world, think about that director, that man and woman who had he was a movie director, a popular movie director. His son was schizophrenic and unalived both him and his wife. The money couldn't save them, right? They had money. They tried putting their son in many different facilities to get him help. They didn't want the police to arrest him. They didn't want him to go nowhere. They had all this money trying to pay holistic doctors to do all these things for him and heal him and do all that. None of the money could help their son. So why am I, when I'm thinking about the way God created covenant, why am I then going to make money the standard? I don't care. I don't care if you're making $35,000 a year. Do you have a vision? Do you understand your purpose and calling that God has given to you? You can't lead me anywhere without that. I don't care if you was making $35,000 or $335,000 a year. If you have no purpose or calling and you don't understand your identity through Christ, you cannot lead me. You don't know where you're taking me to. And because you don't know where you're taking me to, you're going to lead me to hell.
Half the time, they don't even know where they taking themselves to.
That's why you discover your identity. Your purpose and calling should be something. When you find your wife, you got to think, you're asking for a woman to submit to you and follow you. And she asks you, where are we going? Well, I don't know, but I looked online and I was reading stuff about CDLs and becoming a truck driver. Really? So you don't know what you want to do. You just online reading stuff. I can't get behind that.
I'm sorry, but the way you put things, it makes me laugh. I'm sorry. You have very unique ways of putting things.
Mila, I promise you got to come to my lives. Today I had over 100 people in there. When I tell you, these are things that I hear from men and from women. This is what I hear, and I be astonished. But it's no shade to them, because we all on our own journeys. We all grow. But I think that when I hear men, I had a man. I was on live the other day, and a man did a co-host live with me. So I don't know if you know too much about live, but what people can do, they can put a co-host request to where it says you and that person. And he had a prompt up and said, Black women don't want to be feminine. Oh, FBIs, feminine, Black, and intelligent. They want to be hoes, honorless. I forgot what the O stood for. Overly something. and then E was I didn't even remember what the acronym for host was. But he was like, you don't think black women just... I'm like, sir, for one, it's Black History Month. It's Black History Month. You chose to get online on February 3rd with this mess, right? Then you talking about black women as if black women are just a problem and black women is making the community go wrong. What about the role that black men play? We can point the fingers at each other. We can do black men, black women all day long. But at the end of the day, you're a leader. If you're a man, you saying, you sitting here telling me you're a leader and you're telling me that black women don't want to follow you. What does that say about you? You mean to tell me not one black woman can trust in your leadership? Not all the, you mean to tell me all the black women that you attract are 304s? What does that say about you? Why are you only attracting 304s? I have to question that. So then when he can't answer my questions, he gets irate at this point. At this point, I'm speaking, the way I'm speaking to you, that's how I'm speaking to him. I'm not even raising my voice or anything. Oh, black men don't like 304s. Well, why are you dealing with them? If you don't like, because they're easily accessible. So if you don't like them, why are you dealing with them? You're telling me they're easily accessible. So you choose to deal with them. So it's a choice that you're making. What does that say about your choice making skills? Now you upset. Now you got high blood pressure because I'm asking you questions.
You
They
asking all
leave
the
that to
right
you.
questions. That's why.
I don't want to hear that black women is the problem. I don't want to hear black men is the problem. What's going on with you? Why you feel like you attracting all these bad men? Why you feel like you attracting all these bad women? What is it?
Okay, but this might be off subject, but I used to think before I got married, I literally was only attracting certain men that I can't mention on here. And it was the fast money making men.
Oh, okay, I know what you mean.
And it was at one point in my life, I got in trouble one time. And I was like, no, I'm like, God, if this is for me, let it be for me. If it's not for me, please take it away. And within, I want to say 3 days time, it was shown that it wasn't for me.
Mm-hmm.
And when I tell you, I got back in the church, I went back to church. I started doing everything right. And that's when I met my husband. And I said the same thing all over again. God, if this is for me, let it be for me. If it's not for me, please take it away. And my husband became my husband.
That's, yep.
So it is a way for you to find what's for you. You just have to be patient.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I think that I ain't gonna hold you. When I was in the world, I used to be attracted to that type of man. And this conversation about to take another turn. I used to think that the quote unquote hood ninjas were masculine. I equated them to being masculine because of a certain persona. They had this tough, nonchalant attitude. They typically had a certain swagger to them. They spoke a certain way, right? Anytime they felt disrespected, they stood on business, right? Or what we call, they stood on business. Oh, they stood up to that person. They was about to, up their firearm on somebody because somebody was looking at them the wrong way. They a real masculine, tough man, right?
Right.
Then I'm like, in a way, they're a leader, right?
Yeah.
My child's father, I watched him. I watched this man make $50,000 a week off being in that life. Meanwhile, people over here struggling to do this and do that. And it was something I never agreed with. I'm like, I was doing applications for this man. I was doing resumes for this man because this man actually had a college education. So remember when I was talking about putting on masks and missing the red packs in the beginning? When I met my child's father, he had graduated college. He was a welder working in North Dakota in the oil fields, making very good money. Very good money. If you ever looked at the salary of a welder, look it up. It's
Yeah, I know
very good money.
they make great money.
Right? I looked at him. He had a great family. He had a great background. He was stable. He had his own place, his own car. But I didn't miss the fact that he was hiding something from me, where he was in that life. And I equated the hood guy as a masculine man. And I would see him, I said, oh, he's a leader because all these other dudes are coming to him saying, hey, put me on, I need money. And he helping them put money in their pockets and feed their family, right?
Yeah.
I saw him as a protector because I knew if anybody was to approach him in the wrong manner, I knew he was going to handle it. I knew somebody would end up hurt, essentially, right? I saw him as provision in a way where he would tell me what to do and tell me because he was telling me how to move. He was telling me how to go here and do this. He taught me how to drive, right?
Yeah.
He was teaching me things about the street life. He was teaching me how to manage my money, things like that. So all these things kind of made me fall for him, right? In the beginning. Well, now mind you, in the beginning, I really didn't know what he did for real, for real. I knew he was working, but at one point he ended up quitting his job and just went full-fledged into the streets. But I'll let you know that to know this. I realized the hood man is not actually masculine at all. It's more so like a hyper masculinity thing because the hood man is not emotionally available and they don't know how to manage their emotions, right? Because they feel like they have to be tough all the time, right? They feel like not only do I have to go out here and be against the white T man, but then I got to be against my own kind who may be after me because of what I got. So now I'm always got to watch my back. I got to watch out for the snakes. I got to watch out for these people who may try to have me under. I got to watch out for the police because if I move wrong, I can, end up locked up. They're emotionally unavailable.
Yeah.
Here I am wanting to be with a nice romantic guy who and I'm basically, I was in love with the vision instead of who was in front of me. I created a vision of who this person was based off those first few months me and him was courting. Based off those first 4 months we were courting, I fell in love with that and I couldn't let go of that vision of who he was. And he was not a masculine man at all, right? Well, I would just say he's not masculine in the sense that I view masculine now. That's what I'll say. My definition of what is a masculine man has changed, right? He did not know how to control his emotions. He didn't know how to be emotionally available, right? He did not know how to be loving, right? Like that 1 Corinthians 13 love. And this is what the hood guy is, right? To now, I'm like, I don't even want to be with a man. If you refer to yourself as the N-word, I don't even want to be with you. That lets me know what you think of yourself.
Yeah, and then I don't like when I love for a man to express himself. I don't want you to be hard up all the time. I want you to be emotionally available because I'm as much as me. I'm an emotional person. Okay, I love with emotion. I don't. I know a lot of people be like, how do you love with emotion? It's possible. It might not be for everybody, but it's possible. But I love for a man to lead with emotion. I hate for a man to say, "Oh, men don't cry," because men do cry.
What I've had to understand is I can't ask a man to show me emotions the way that I would, right? Because I realize I'm a woman. There's a certain
Yeah,
way
it's
us
definitely
as
gonna be a
women
difference. There's
we
gonna be a difference.
yes, right. So for me, I wanted a man to be emotional in the same way I was as a woman. When that's just not realistic, right?
Right.
I type of person if like there's certain things that may bother me and I'll be like, man, don't say something, don't say something, don't say something. But it's like I just gotta say something. I can't even hold it in, right? Versus with men, I think sometimes men you may find a man who like I need to process it because am I tripping or am I not? Let me sit back and process this, right? Let me observe, right? Some men are more so they are on the reserve, and then when they're ready to, they'll speak about it, right? I can't expect a man to just simply want to open up about his childhood, especially you have to think about how a lot of men they have been emotionally neglected, and some of it start with their own mothers. So they feel like they can't be emotionally vulnerable in front of women, or they feel like if they are emotionally vulnerable, it's thrown back into their face. It's like, oh, now I told you something, I opened up to you, and now you just threw that back in my face.
Yeah.
So I've learned to understand that men have a different way of showing their emotions, but I think that as long as a man can articulate his emotions in a mature and intellectual way, I think that that's the best thing, right? It's like when women find out that they're expecting, or like you see the gender reveal videos where sometimes you see like the woman, she's just so super excited and things like that, and the man, he's happy, he's just clapping his hands, he's hugging his wife, he's kissing her, but he's not jumping up and down. Now some men, you will find videos where they're jumping up and down, they're ecstatic, they're happy, but a lot of times people will watch those videos and say, well, he didn't seem happy because he didn't jump up 5 feet in the air off the ground, and he didn't, say hooray, So it's like it's different ways of that we express our emotions.
Yeah, I
Respond
agree.
to that?
Oh, go ahead,
I want to,
DBL.
yeah, I want to respond to that. I agree what you're saying, and yes, men, we do deal with emotions a lot differently. I'll give you an example. So whenever, let's say for example, I have a bad day at work, right? I come home kind of in a bad mood. I'm not mad at my girl. She didn't do anything. I'm just mad in general, And she'll question, hey, what's wrong? And I'm like, nothing. I'm not like in the mood to talk about it right now, but you give me 10 minutes, I'll be okay. I don't say that. I just, I need time to be by myself. But she'll keep like asking me over again. It's like, whoops, I don't have a zero. I just have to take some time to decompress. If you give me a minute, then I'll tell you what happened when I'm not in a bad mood. And a lot of times she's so into like me having emotions that, she'll reach for something that really isn't there between me and her and then make it a thing. And, we don't really have arguments like that. We don't argue that much.
You're breaking up, sir.
Like,
You're breaking up, honey. You're breaking up.
can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Hold on. Yeah, I was just saying that, I don't like being forced to show my emotions, I guess. So if you give me time to decompress, I can explain to you why I was mad, I don't like when I'm vilified for not feeling the emotions I should be feeling according to your standards. Understanding and patient with the guy, and that shouldn't be a big problem.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I don't think anyone needs to be vilified because they don't want to express emotions.
Yeah, I want to thank you, Lena. I like when you come on here because you like to talk and you make my job very easy. You feel me? You make my job very easy. You went down something that I want to go to now. So one of the things that in relationships that we have to do, and this may be for another topic, but I'll bring it up here since we're on it though, is that Beyonda talked about decompressing, right? And
Mm-hmm.
he's correct. He's correct. You talked about how men show emotions and stuff like that, or at least should, right?
Uh-huh.
So what most of us are more stoic. We practice more stoicism
Uh-huh.
when it comes to communication. You know what I'm saying? So a lot of times women will interpret that as, oh, he's quiet, he doesn't want to share. Um,
Mm-hmm.
our nature is to observe more, as we should. I think that is a trait that all men, if they don't have, they will learn at some point, probably through downfall, and then it'll force them to default settings. You know what I'm saying? That is that to observe is to not be so quick to speak, uh, but be quick to hear, slow to speak per se. You know what I'm saying? And it's interesting about the emotions, right? You talked about the gender reveal. What could happen is that we're excited, but we're also processing how we're gonna afford this family. That is something that goes on in a man's mind all the time. You think women are the only ones that think about money? Oh, men think about money all the time, just not in the way women do. You know,
Yeah.
we think about it like, man, there's so much pressure on me. I can't afford to fail because if I fail, I could fail my family. There's a lot of things that play into a man's mind when the tears of joy are happening, which is fine, but we're also thinking about some of the things that we're going to be held to and things that God is going to hold us accountable to, our families, you know what I'm saying, society. There's so much things that are riding on our back, and that's why it's so important to have a very good supportive woman in our quarter, because our woman is gonna if we pick the right woman, she is gonna calm us in times where we could be erratic, you know, and and you know and we need our women to say to us, baby, don't worry about it, we're gonna be just fine. That matters. To hear your woman say that to you, your wife, baby, don't worry about it, we're gonna be just fine, as long as we got God in our life and we have each other. That's a simple thing to say, but you know how much that would mean to a man?
Mm-hmm.
We our blood pressure could be 150 over 120. But if she says that to us, it'll go back to 120 over 80. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know if you guys are I don't know if you guys are into like the comic book movies like the Incredible Hulk, right? The Incredible Hulk, as mad as he is when he turns into the Hulk, as soon as he sees Betsy Ross, he calms down.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And that is that matters. You know what I'm saying? Like, that women, listen, I love women. I do. I love women. I mean, I love the presence of a woman. I love the smell of a woman. I love the touch of a woman. I love a woman's I love the creation of a woman. I love her existence. You know what I'm saying? But but if it's the wrong woman, oh Lord, it's not a good thing. You know what I'm saying? And one of the things that God has done perfectly is that He made y'all from us. So you are us in a sense. You know what I'm saying? And the whole purpose of that was for us to be together and to live together, to be together, be married, to grow together, to create life together. I mean, it's just a beautiful thing. And that's why it's so important when choosing a mate. This is very important. It's one of the most important things outside of accepting Christ as your Lord and Savior. It's very important. Um, Somebody new joined the panel. Son of God, you there?
Yeah, I'm here, brother.
All right, brother. How you doing? I'd like to explain the rules here for people who are new, okay? And that is respect the host, respect each other, one mic at a time. If you cool, you cool. We'll keep you up here, you know? Um, I have a question, and then you can get into the conversation with the ladies and fellas, okay? And that is, what does it mean to be equally yoked? Go ahead, sir.
What it means to me, it means having a relationship with God, allowing the Holy Spirit to lead you. That's what it means. Having the same faith, same belief. You work as one in Christ. That's how I see it.
And brother, I'm gonna give you more mic time. Also, talk about how bad things could go when you're not equally yoked. Go ahead.
Well, it could go in total chaos, right? Because I think like this. You know, when you put a yoke on oxen, right?
I
The,
like this reference. I mentioned it earlier. Go ahead. Go
so
for it.
when you put a yoke on oxen, the oxen's supposed to go in the same direction because the yoke got them together. But if one ox trying to go backwards and the other ox trying to go forward, that's going to cause a chaotic situation. The scripture says, "How can two walk together except they agree?" Right. So we must first agree on what God said and be submitted to the Holy Spirit. That's how I look at that.
And you know what I mentioned earlier that ox cannot be yoked, physically yoked in farmer sense. With the railing between the heads, it cannot be yoked with a donkey. But a lot of people are out here with. There's a lot of oxes and donkeys out here who are together. What do you say about that?
Well, I mean, that's unequally yoked, right? A a, a,
There it is.
a donkey is not made for to be plowing. So
Also, check this out now. It's also very important. Remember the story of Samson, right?
Samson and Delilah.
You know why? Check out the situation. Look at the situation where they were living at the in the area at the time. The woman, man, the parents knew. The parents knew those women. Samson, don't go down there. Don't go down there. Do not go down there. Don't. There's no good wife down there. But for some reason, this man sneaked and saw a peak, man. He said, "Oh my God, I have to go back." She got him. A woman is powerful. You know what I mean? If the woman make the first move, what do you think the man gonna do? Cause you know a woman, they could do certain things. You know what I mean? We all know that. We all adults here. They do certain things. Say certain things, walk certain way. They caught the man out right there. But the parents knew, do not go down there because those women down there, their value is different, man. Their value is completely different from ours. They don't believe in God, man. Don't go down there, Samson. But he continued to go, and look what happened. Unequally yoked, right? You know what I mean? That's what they call you went outside where your parents said, listen, stay in this lane over here. You get all the women over here, this side. But those people over there, the morals, their character, they no good. But for some reason, man, when you look at it, right, as time passed, and when you look at it, right, you go back to the Garden of Eden. We're speaking on a biblical point of view, right? And it all started from there. A lot of things started from there, man. Someone say, don't let your woman or your wife have a next man she's talking to. Or talk to the next man more than he's talked to the husband. You're going to have problems.
Okay, so I do have one question of the our chat. Speaking of the Bible, because a lot of people can read the Bible, but a lot of people don't understand it.
True.
So if someone was to come to you, quoting scriptures, they know it, but they don't understand it, and they telling you that's how they was, that's how they live their life. I can't say that's how they raised because everybody pick and choose their religion wisely, or it's given to them. How would you explain to them about the things that they're saying, knowing that they're wrong?
Okay. See, that's one thing I don't argue about, religion and politics. You believe your way, that's just your opinion. But I deal with facts.
No,
because that
that's what I'm saying. I'm saying, what
so
if they don't quite understand it? You know, they saying it, but they don't really understand it, and
see
they're looking for a better understanding.
a better understanding. You have to tell them, listen, if you want to point to God, you show them in the scriptures, but also you have to be living that life. It's your life.
True.
Because if they come into you, there's something about you, some light, some good vibes you're giving off that attract them.
Okay, okay,
So you have
Yeah, I agree with that.
whatever's in you, what they're like, they're going to come and ask you why this, why that. So you have to give them the correct answer. And it's not you, because if you go back to the scripture, that's what I'm saying. If we go back to biblical yoke, to be yoked with God, that means you have to totally submit to God and seek His righteousness and His kingdom first, and all other else, the fancy things that you're going to inherit, the benefits. But you can't just neglect and just go straight to the benefits. But you have, and another thing, what you have to do, if you want to get real deep in the Bible and biblical, you have to try the Spirit, even if it's God or not.
okay. I get it. I get it.
You know what I mean? There's many things out there. There's a lot. I don't argue about religion. You believe that? Okay, it's all good. Hey, that's you. That's your choice. That's your time. If you want to spend your time, and we all know, I could get into back and I got into different, say not debate, because I know Yahweh is the true and living God, the Most High God. I know I could prove it. When everybody say prove God, we are here. We are live, right?
Yeah.
All right. I rest my case.
Hey,
Yeah.
shout outs to my fourth quarter players. Y'all be coming up at the end of the stream, but
Yeah.
King
SCM.
Chef, King Chef, I'm gonna let you speak because you've been on the panel before and you were very respectful, brother. Welcome back. I don't have to explain the rules to you. You already know. The conversation. What does it mean to be equally yoked? Go ahead, King Chef.
I just want to. I'm gonna bring up an image real quick of a yoke. It's not showing me the image. Hold on one sec.
Yo. Yeah.
And not because the thing is, people always are thinking of the yoke that is on a cow.
Mm.
This is a yoke, right? So there's a verse in the Bible which says, "Not to muzzle the ox that treadeth the corn." Right? The slaves had these yokes on them so that they could not eat from the fruits that they picked. Right? They're out there working and slaving, but they can't eat of the berries that they're picking. Right? So people who are living in the world, they're always seeking to attain, but they can never attain. Right? People are chasing money. The yoke of money is a huge yoke. Greed, right? Or a yoke of gluttony, right? Or lust, right? Because when it's talking about a yoke, people like to equate it with marriage, but it actually wasn't referring to that when we really dive into the unequally yoked. When you study yoke throughout the Bible, it's always talking about the oppression of sin, right? It was never correlated with relationships, though people try to use it for that, right? But the majority of the time it's used towards the yoke of sin, meaning you're always chasing, but you're never attaining. You're always hungry, but you're never full, right? You're always thirsty, but your thirst is never quenched, right? When you look at people that carry the yoke of the world, right, or unrighteousness, they're always chasing something, but they never, like, you'll see people, I want to be rich. They'll become a millionaire. Cool. Is that good enough? No. I need 10 million. They get 10 million. Yeah, I need 100. Like, they're never satisfied, right? And when he said that my yoke is easy is because you're satisfied. He said, comes to the living water, right? He'll give you to drink what, and you'll thirst no more, right? But the yoke of sin will always have you thirsty. And I think that when we talk about yoke, people don't really hit at that point, because I think that's one thing. It's like when you're in a road, you're never satisfied, ever. So that yoke is heavy because you must work the rest of your life. And I'll land on this. It's almost like, here in the country we live in a capitalist country, right? Where everything is based off of monopolizing off of the downfalls of others, right? And for us to survive, we have to constantly work until we unalive. That's slavery, whether we think it is or not, right? You remove yourself from that yoke, right, of freedom, and I'll ask, what separates a free man from a slave? A free man has his own land. He can feed his family. He can give his family to drink. He can have a shelter without the need of anybody else. A slave is reliant on somebody for his needs, right? So when we come to God, he gives us a yoke to where our needs are provided for and we are self-sufficient. Versus the world, we must rely on them to be sustained. But I'll land on that.
Indeed, indeed. Wow. Hey, y'all chat.
All
Mr. Y'all
facts.
chat. We're gonna.
All facts, man.
Yeah,
All
yeah,
facts.
yeah, yeah. Absolutely. When you read the full, see, I like how he went there because when you read the full, to get a good understanding of scripture, you got to read before it and after it. You know what I'm saying? Like a
Correct.
specific one. And when I read 2 Corinthians 6:14, I kept reading through verse 18 because it actually gets to what King Chef is talking about in layman's terms of how we get to the message that he got today. And yes, it's more than marriage, of course, and that's the point that we made. And yes, that was great. And that's what that's what I like to end it like how he did that. That was good. So I don't have any final thoughts, but if anything has anything final to say before I end the stream, y'all could go ahead.
Well, I just want to say thank y'all for having me on the live again. It's always a great time over here. It's always a better understanding. And to get other people's opinions is highly valued on my end.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Ab- Absolutely. Thank you, Lena. Thank you, Lena. Thank you, Mila. Thank you, Lena, in the chat. Thank you, Mila. Of course. We respect people up here. So you're always welcome up here. Son of God. Anything else you want to say before we go?
I enjoyed y'all conversation, my brother. Yeah, I just want to tell y'all, just keep doing what you're doing. Um, keep breaking those scriptures down, and keep uplifting each other.
Indeed. Thanks for coming. You're
Thank you, man.
welcome to come
Appreciate it.
back as well. While I still got people's attention, um, me and
Appreciate it.
Mr. Yard Chat go live Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Saturdays afternoons, 1 p.m. Eastern Time. We go live once again Tuesdays, Thursdays, Saturdays, 1 p.m. Eastern Time, 12 Central, 10 a.m. Pacific Time. Okay. We'll see y'all Saturday. All right, Saturday
Yeah.
afternoon. And Mr. Yard Chat, promote the YouTube panel one more time before we go.
Okay, yes, people, listen to us. Sunday, excuse me, I keep saying Saturday. Sunday, February 8th, 2 p.m. Listen, people, we're doing our first live multi-panel. It's going to be our 10 panel, and we're going to be speaking on the topic discussion for the night. For the afternoon is mental health. So we're still on that same vibes, you know what I mean? And 'cause mental health put a lot in just relationship, you know what I mean? So we're going to speak about that. Everyone going to come on and share the point of view. But also follow us on, other platforms, Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, TikTok here, and Facebook. You know what I mean? Follow us, you know what I mean? And follow me on YouTube, your chat. Enough love to everyone. Thank everyone for supporting our, the platform over here. And make sure you follow Mr. Fifth, man. Make sure you follow this brother over here. You follow him, you know what I mean?
Absolutely. Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at the Fifth General. TikTok and YouTube, Fifth General TV. Okay.
Okay.
I'm not hard to find. All right. So all the live replays are posted on my YouTube channel the next day. All right. All live replays. Okay. TikTok lives that we do here, I post them on the YouTube channel the following day. So this will be up tomorrow. Okay. Just to let people know. Friday, this stream will be up. All right.
Okay.
All right. All right,
Right.
Mila. All right. I got love for you, Mila. I love you, Mila.
I love to.
All right, people. All right.
There we go. There we
All
go.
right.
Mr. Yard Chat, I'm out, yo. I'll call you
All
when
right,
we get off
man.
the live, all right?
All right, man.
There
All
you
right.
go.
Yeah.
All right. All right, everyone. God bless y'all. I love y'all. Jesus loves y'all.